Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Welcome, everyone, to the 200th episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Whoops. Well, minor spoilers alert, but as you can see here, I am not really alone. Yes, folks, I might as well go and immediately introduce to you who we have here. This is actually someone that I've collaborated several times before, and this is quite an incredible YouTuber himself. This is someone who has a bit of an expertise on the disturbing stuff. He mostly looks into disturbing media, whether it be videos, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. Even just recently, he actually did put out a new video that is already becoming a big hit about the video game Iceberg. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did the disturbing, like controversial and disturbing video game Iceberg, and people are like, "This is way too political." Like, yeah, it's the controversial, disturbing video game Iceberg. What did you expect? You know what's political? Controversy. That's typically, I don't know.
I mean, nowadays, what isn't political? That's kind of the big question.
Yeah. But it's funny, like, just I don't know, reading the comments where people are like, "Why did you include this game?" And it's like, man, it's a part 1.
Yeah, it's only the beginning, so
I like explained it like 3 times in the video. Like, this is a part 1. In this, we're only covering the first 2 layers. Everyone knows the stuff. Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg, the thing that everyone knows. Do you not get how the format works,
dude? It's the comment section. You gotta expect responses like this.
It's funny. I mean, and you know, I bitch about that kind of stuff, but in reality, like 9 out of 10 comments are absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, that is true. There are always nice comments.
But then I come into the one where it's like, oh, you get the feeling that you're a left-wing political game journalist, and it's like, why? I like in the video, I like went out of my way to avoid talking about any of the politics and drama, and I won't bring it here, but you know, it's just like, oh man, this game has some weird like politics behind it because this person donated to a bunch of Trump supporters and people found it controversial. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know enough about that. I don't want to research that. I'm just here to talk about the video game. So I just like I just mentioned that this thing exists, and it's like, oh, you're a liberal cuck, super offended, and it's like, I don't know. I the only person who looks offended here is you, because you're mad that I said do your own research and didn't give my opinion.
Yeah, but then again, are you at the point where you're just used to these comments? Like, do they happen a little too frequently?
I mean, every video has them. I think the worst ones are like the worst YouTuber ones, where it's like, hey, we have like definite proof that this person was having relations with a child. Isn't that horrible, everyone? And then it's like, you get that one comment that's like, yeah, but she was asking for it. And it's like, you know, that's a 13-year-old that doesn't fucking get it. Exactly. You know, that's like some like young person who doesn't understand why age of consent is a thing because they are themselves 13 and are like, I think I could consent. And then 10 years later, they'll probably be like, oh man, I'm glad I did it.
Yes, but also, I just want to mention that we have collaborated before. We did the 12 disturbing animated films on your channel, and we just recently did the long-awaited King of Pigs review on my channel. So I have yet to even make a full introduction. Please, everyone, welcome for the 200th episode. Please welcome to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, That Creepy Reading.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. I'm hoping I can be as entertaining off script as I am on script.
Hey, I mean, we already started so far.
Yeah. I'm so thankful to like have the platform that I have and to be able to, you know, do this for a living and spend 3 months of my life doing nothing but reading and researching about games. That's another thing too. That iceberg, um, I I made it myself because I didn't really like all the other ones because it's like, oh man, all the bottom layer in these other icebergs are like disturbing hentai games. And it's like,
Mm.
yeah, if you find like someone's material to be disturbing, then sure, but I feel like it's like better to put all that stuff into like a single item than it is to go through the hundreds of weird, poorly made, disturbing games about uncomfortable interests.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like there are like some games out there that are just like made by dangerous people who committed real world crimes, and there are like some stuff out there that's like made to indoctrinate people. You know, stuff like I think there's this one game made by the Chinese Communist Youth League. And now I say that word communist, I don't necessarily know if that's the actual political beliefs they have, but it's just like a young activist
Yeah.
group in China. And they made a MMO video game where I read this interview where they, and I quote, made the Japanese enemies subtly uglier so they're more satisfying to kill.
Oh, dang.
So it's like, you know, there is like literal like racist propaganda games that like are made by like government sponsored stuff that I think is way more disturbing than anything you find on E621.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But what we are here for, like, I'm sure you got some exciting stuff to come, especially with the video game iceberg video. But we definitely have a whole bunch of major news to go and talk about.
Yeah, we got to talk about cartoons, the other important thing in my life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we definitely have a lot more to come. And and speaking of icebergs, this is just going to be a little taste of what is going to be to come on this episode. And trust me, folks, you better strap in because this will definitely be a wild ride. So, Creepy, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast?
Well, I'm loco, soca, something funny. Yes, I'm ready.
There you go. All right, folks. Are you ready, people in the chat wall? Are you all prepared for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Oh, man, they are ready. Absolutely. They're going mad with power. They're going wild. That's beautiful to see. And with that said, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And what we shall begin is, considering, well, this is AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, we might as well go with the biggest animation news that actually happened this weekend. And this is actually something that, well, we all know happens annually, but is often considered to be the biggest night of animation. And definitely one that many people kept an eye on to see what would be the big highlights of 2021, or at least what Asifa Hollywood considers to be the big highlight of 2021. And so let's go ahead and talk about the 49th annual Annie Awards. Yes, and the big winner, just like with this article here on Variety mentions here, is actually Netflix, where Netflix actually does walk away with 20 of the 31 categories at this year's Annies. And the two big projects that are heavily responsible for this are Arcane. Oh, and by the way, both for Meta Ralph and Giuliano, thank you so much for the subscriptions right there. And as I was saying, the two big winners of this year's Annie Awards are none other than The Mitchells vs. the Machines by Sony and Arcane. For Mitchells vs. the Machines, that movie actually won a grand total of 8 Annie Awards, where not only did it win Best Animated Picture, but it also won for Best Animated Effects, Best Character Design, Best Production Design, Best Voice Acting for Abby Jacobson as Katie Mitchell, and Best Editing. And then there is also Arcane, which actually got even more with 9 Annie Awards, not only winning for Best Program for a general audience, but it also won for Best Directing, Best Visual Effects, Best Character Animation, Best Character Design, Best Production Design, Best Storyboarding, Best Voice Acting for, hold on, let me just double check who won for Best Voice Acting. That would be Ella Purnell as Jinx, and Best Editing. Oh, and did I forget to mention also that Mike Rianda, the director of The Mitchells vs. the Machines, also did win an Annie for Best Directing as well. And as for the other wins that Netflix did receive, these include Maya and the Three, which not only did it win Best Program for Children, but it also won for Best Music, as well as Best Program for Preschoolers, which won for Ada Twist Scientist.
Thank God it wasn't Johnny Johnny. I don't think I could handle Johnny Johnny won that.
Oh God. Do you mean like that Johnny Johnny Yes Papa thing?
Yeah, that's like from like one of the most popular YouTube channels that like I can't remember, I can't pronounce the name, I can't remember it. But man, that baby with the 2 teeth, like that's like stupid popular amongst like toddlers. Billions of views like per episode. It's ridiculously popular. So I mean, considering it's on Hulu and other streaming services, it wouldn't surprise me if someone looked at it and considered it for something.
Who knows?
But then someone watched it and was like, there's no way in hell.
Yeah, but anyways, going back into the Annie Awards, other winners that we have gotten this year includes Flea winning Best Independent Animated Feature, Encanto winning 3 Annies for Best Character Animation, Best Storyboarding, and Best Music. And there are some other winners as well, just to go through the list here from my source on Variety. These include Namu for Best Special Production, Bestia for Best Short Subject, A Future Begins for Best Sponsored, and there's Night of the Living...
There's What If for Best Editorial?
Yeah, Best Editing, yes. What If actually did win for Best Editing. Night of the Living Dread won for Best Student Film. And, as well as Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings winning for Best Character Animation in a Live-Action Production. And Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart winning Best Character Animation for a video game. So,
did you watch Mitchell's versus the Machine? Well, I think you did, of course, because I think you reviewed it.
I did enjoy that. You?
I found it like hard to. Maybe it's because I'm a cynical adult who was a teen in 2011, but like all those memes that was in that, like that was like parodied in that movie were from like that 2011 era, and it really took me out of it. Because the movie isn't like a period piece where it's like back then. It's like a current movie, but our characters are into real world memes that died a decade ago. And that, I don't know, that kind of really took me out of it. I thought that the father-daughter storyline was pretty cool, but it's also something that I think we've seen in animation like a lot. The animation was cool, but it's also has some editing that's reminiscent of like 2011 meme culture, which, took me right back to the Know Your Meme days, when that was like one of the big channels on YouTube. And like, I don't know, there's just like this sense that the people writing this were a little bit out of touch, or maybe the script was written like maybe back then, and some of the references weren't updated for concurrent times. I just don't think it's a very timeless movie. And for something to win that won like 20 awards, it's like, I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means.
Well, hold on. It didn't win 20 awards. It's Netflix technically collecting 20 awards in total with Arcane and Mitchell's and a few other projects. It like with Mitchell's vs. the Machines, that won 8 Annie Awards, and including the major ones, including Best Writing, Best Directing, and Best Animated Feature.
Right. I would be hard pressed to tell you of a better thing that came out in that year. So I guess that was just a bit of a dry year for animation.
Are you sure? Really? You think so?
I mean, Encanto is pretty good. I definitely feel like Disney upped themselves in terms of animation. It's weird. I'm someone who can enjoy animation for the sake of it being animated, and I can appreciate the hard work that went into something. And on that level, I really do enjoy Mitchell's versus the Machines. but like on a instinctual level where it like resonates or like makes me think or has like an impact or says something. I don't really think that that it really does that. I think it just kind of exists. It's entertaining, it's well animated, but I don't know. I feel like the story's been done before and done better.
So, just out of curiosity, do you think the Mitchells vs. the Machines deserves like all the individual awards that it got, including Best Animated Feature, or are there some that you personally would want to switch that around?
I'm trying to think of like what came out in 2021.
Well, okay, so
Um,
but well, just to give you the list of nominations that it had, like for best animated feature, they had Mitchell's versus the Machines, they had Encanto, they had Raya and the Last Dragon, they had Luca, and they also put in Sing 2. I don't ask me why, but that is also in there.
wow.
And funny enough, that's the only nomination that Sing 2 got. It's just for Best Animated Feature. It didn't get nominated in any of the other categories, oddly enough.
Luca is like also in that same category of I think I've seen this before, but it didn't leave much of an impact, but it was beautifully animated. Like it's a good show, and like if I was a kid, I'd definitely be super into it. But I guess I really like media that like tries to say something about like current reality or present something like about real life in a way that is understandable to like younger people or just done in a entertaining way. Like with Mitchell's versus the Machines, you know, it's like it kind of feels like they're trying to do that with the whole like, oh no, our phones are like becoming self-aware because the tech billionaire fucked up. But at the same, but then at the same time, the show presents that tech billionaire as like a well-meaning individual that like made a mistake. When in reality, that's not what Mark Zuckerberg's doing. That's not like what tech giants do. They do something intentional, and then we find out about it and go, ah, why would you do that? And there was like an opportunity for them to be like, why would you put this kind of thing in our phones? Like, and that could have been like a joke or like something that like I guess commentates on the current state of affairs, but instead they choose to keep it lighthearted and fun for everyone without really towing like any sort of line. And in by not having any edge, I really feel like it stands on its story, and its story is like okay. And as a result, I think the movie is okay. But it's kind of weird that like in that whole year, I can't think of anything better. I mean, Luca was okay. I think Encanto was beautifully animated. At least better than Mitchell's I keep saying Mitchell's. Mitchell versus the Machine.
Well,
The Mitchells
you could just say
versus
Mitchells
the
and
Machine.
like you could just say Mitchells and we get it.
Right.
Because Mitchell's versus the Machines is quite a mouthful. So you could just say Mitchell's and like we all know what it is.
Yeah. I just can't. I'm. It makes me sad that like that's the best we really have to offer for that year. I need to finish watching Encanto to really say if I think that movie should have won more. But I think that I like Encanto more, just like on a visual level immediately, because I feel like the animation there is god tier. You know, some of the stuff in that movie made me legit go, "Holy hell! What are these guys doing? Did they get any sleep?" Because like just everything. God, what's that uncle character's name?
I think Felix, you
The
mean?
one that everyone like draws art of him. Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
Bruno, okay.
He's all the animation on him is cool. All like the scenes and just oh my god, the way that the house moves and reacts and the way that the characters are designed, and I really do appreciate it when companies go out of their way to try to like I don't know, give us a taste of what other cultures is like, you know, because like we got like the European version of whimsy and fairy tale, but you know, I don't know jack about you know what a Mexican fairy tale would be like, and or I don't really know much about other cultures. So when they do try to tackle it, it's great, except for when it's Raya, and that was not. I couldn't get past like the 30-minute mark. I gave up on that movie. I haven't walked out of many movies. And the only other movie I walked out on was The Secret Life of Pets, after I got to the part where I realized it was Toy Story.
You just realized, like, wait a minute, this is Toy Story with dogs. Nope.
Yeah, literally. I was in the theater, and it's like, you know, the Woody dog like tried to mess with the Buzz Lightyear dog, and then like that got them both like cast out, and they had to like find their way back while the squad showed up to try to like help them, I guess. And you know, you had these like A plot and B plot, except it's Toy Story with comedians, and no one cared about what they were doing, especially Louis C.K. He didn't care. No one cared.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, like in the sequel, Patton Oswalt did do a better job, honestly. But just out of curiosity, do you have any have you seen Arcane? Do you have any thoughts on that one winning a lot?
Man, I saw the opening animation. I saw the opening episode, and the cinematography and like direction seems to be very strong. And if I cared at all about League of Legends, I might be interested in watching more. But it's hard for me to really get into it, mainly because the source material is like mired in so much stuff that kind of makes me feel gross. Like, I know a lot of people say separate art from the artist, but for me, I can't sometimes, you know. And Riot Games like has serious accusations against them about how they treat their employees. And every time I play League of Legends, someone calls me the N-word, and like I don't know. It's just like everything that my brain associates with that intellectual property makes me like feel sick. And when I try to watch Arcane, it even if it's just like kind of by association, it just brings that up, and it just makes me not feel as good as I should watching something that looks that amazing. So if you're like into that scene, I think that Arcane probably is like the coolest thing out there right now. I've talked to like some people at the mall who are like super into League of Legends and got into Arcane, and they're like, oh my god, this is like the best thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, damn, I wish I could appreciate it on that level. And you know, maybe I'll give it another shot. I gotta definitely give it another shot. But man, sometimes it's just like, you know, you have all those negative associations, and it can really go a long way for making something just feel, I guess, a bit more muted than it should. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think the word mute is good.
Yeah, and I do
like, it's not like it's bad or I don't see the merit in it. Just that for me, the emotion that I feel from it is muted.
Yeah, and there are some people in the chat, well, they are saying that you don't have to play League of Legends, or you don't have to associate League of Legends with Arcane. Like, you could just enjoy that thing as is. But again, if you can't separate the art from the artist, that's you. So you do you. I understand that.
Yeah. And honestly, to like everyone else there, it's like I'm not any better of a person because I don't enjoy a piece of media. And you shouldn't feel bad for enjoying something, you know, because honestly, the people who put work into that put a lot of work, and you can see it. Just with like how well it's animated and how expressive it can be at times. But you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, for me, I got this bitter taste in my mouth, and I need to get rid of it before I can enjoy anything else. It's like cough syrup. It curses everything that comes after it, no matter how good it may be. And oh my god, I wish I could enjoy it on that level. It took me, like, for example, I had the same issue of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. People online were weird. I would go to conventions, the JoJo fans are weird, and it took me like 3 tries to get through the first 2 seasons. But after I did that, it's like, oh my god, I see why people love this. Sometimes it just takes a few attempts, and I try to keep an open mind and consume all media that I can that at least has some merit behind it, and this definitely does have a lot of merit. I can see why people like it. I think another one of those shows that was hard for me to get into was Demon Slayer. Actually, if we were not, if this wasn't, I think this is for strictly cartoons, but I'd probably say Demon Slayer is the best thing I've watched or seen in 2021.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was a roller coaster. It was awesome. The animation fucking blew my mind at times. I love the way that they incorporated 3D CGI with 2D. Normally you hear that in like anime and it's like, "Oh my god, what the hell were you smoking?" But in this show, like, they use that 3D to be like, "Okay, we're doing a complicated shot where the room is literally shifting from like its like top side to its bottom side, and we're having the room be a 3D model, but we're 2D animating the character, you know, realistically being flipped around." And it creates this effect that's absolutely awesome to watch, like, in person. I think the story is a little lackluster, but with how much like personality each of the characters have and how much fun each episode is and how little time they waste getting to the point, it's probably one of the best animated things that I've had the opportunity to watch over the last few months.
Oh,
Um,
dang.
I,
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I know I gotta get. I know I have to like eventually get into season 2. I already saw season 1. I saw Mugen Train, which like Mugen Train was so awesome. But yeah,
Oh my
eventually I need
god,
to
right?
check out season 2. Like with
Season 2.
the entertainment district arc. That's all I need to watch, and yeah, I'll just have to go from there. But just going back onto the Annie Awards, just to put in my piece a little bit on what we're seeing, and I mean, I definitely do get why a lot of like these like a lot of the wins, like they got it, especially with stuff like Arcane and even with Mitchell's versus the Machines. The one I would disagree, and like this is my personal opinion, honestly, like the one I am a bit disappointed is regarding best voice acting, where honestly, I think Kelly Marie Tran deserves to get it for her performance in Raya and the Last Dragon. Like, say what you will about the movie, but I feel like her performance was the best thing in the movie and really gave a lot of depth to Raya as a character. So that was one I was a bit disappointed, and I was rooting to see win, but like then again, I guess the Annies are aiming more towards more towards giving it mostly to Mitchell's versus the Machines, which I need to go and mention this right now. And this is honestly going to be a bit of a hot take from me, especially when it comes with the Annie Awards and from what we've been seeing. But am I the only one that's starting to feel tired of seeing the Annie Awards where it's always one movie constantly dominating the categories? Because this is starting to become a repetitive thing that we're seeing every year, and especially when it comes to movies, where it's always the case where there's always this one movie that would have at least 2/3 of the categories give it all to them. And
Well, to be fair, there isn't like that many movies to pick from. I mean, like, out of all those, it's like, does Rhea really deserve to win anything other than the voice acting one?
well, some
Does,
of
like,
the animation like is actually really impressive. Like the animated effects there, like they did a phenomenal job on too.
they definitely did, but I don't think it's like as good as Encanto.
But yeah, well, yeah, but still, like the point that I am trying to make with this is that like this isn't something that we are seeing this year. This is something that they do all the time, and that the Annies has a serious bias problem where it really feels like there's just one winner, and it keeps happening like this all the time. And like where we see something like Mitchell's versus the Machines, where it walked away with the majority of the movie categories, and like we've seen this happen like so often every year by this point. It happened the same thing last year when we saw like the only movies that were getting awards were just Soul and Wolfwalkers, and even the year before that where the majority went to Klaus, and even the year before that where it went to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and even the year before that where like almost everything went to Coco. It just makes it just doesn't make it as fun, and it feels less engaging when you know there's just one winner that they keep constantly giving. Like, you know how like in the Oscars or stuff like that, people feel tired of the repetitiveness that for best animated feature, most of it either goes to Disney or Pixar. Well, it's kind of the same thing here, where
It's kind of cool that like Netflix is like stealing it. I've always liked Netflix as a company. I mean, not as much after Cuties, but Still like them a lot. I've made videos dedicated talking about exclusively Netflix shows just because they're that good. You know, I mean, you look at like its competition and it's like, okay, let's look at Hulu, right? What's a good animated feature on Hulu? We got Forget About It, that one superhero parody show that like got like 3 seasons for some reason. And then Hit Monkey, which is like their only good animated show. And
Well, isn't
they
there
only just
MODOK
recently
also?
I mean, if you call that good, sure.
Oh,
I
well.
didn't really think it was that great. I don't know. The comedy didn't work for me.
Yeah, but all to say, like, yeah, like, yeah, there are some that the like what Netflix has done is actually really enjoyable, but it's not necessarily of like always giving it to the same people all the time. It's just how every year they have a bias where it feels like at this point, is there really
This
a
thing
point?
won Best Direction, so I guess we need to give it music and editing and
Yeah,
script writing.
yeah, it's like at the point where is it even necessary to make all these other categories when you're mostly giving it to just one
Well,
movie?
it
Like,
looked more impressive on the box
yeah, I guess for like for marketing
for
reasons.
marketing.
But still, like even for like as an award show, like this year, there's only been a handful of movies. Like it's really just Mitchell's, Encanto, and even like in the TV categories, it used to be like, you know, it used to be diverse where like one show wins an Annie, the another show just wins two and stuff like that. But this year, like, is a bit different because the grand majority went to Arcane. So like there's really not much winners to really go through. And again, like I know it's often I know it is fun to see like there's like one year where there's one movie that would like dominate like most of the categories. Like it's fun, but when it happens every year, like it becomes tiring, it becomes less interesting, and it's just not as enjoyable, and it's hard to really take it as seriously when you know like it kind of has this bias where it just wants to give it to one specific movie. So that's honestly
I guess
my
like
piece on it.
I think it's probably just like an issue with the judging where it's like, ah, yes, this is the best movie, and it's the best movie because I really like the direction and writing and this other thing. And then it's like, well, if it had the best writing, then it probably had like the best voice acting, right? Because you know, voice acting is half script, half
Mm-hmm.
performance. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like I can see the people because like honestly, I've seen the way that like other award shows are done. I don't know much about the Annies, but you know, the anonymous people voting for these aren't always the people who are the most invested into the genre. So someone like me and you will be like, does it really deserve that? But they'll be like, yeah, my kids liked it.
Well. I mean, yeah, like it definitely is the case with stuff like Golden Globes or the Oscars, but you got to keep in mind this is the Annies. This is animation specific, and it's animation people that are voting. Like these are from people who do take animation a bit more seriously. And in this case here, I don't know what the problem is, like, or the source of the problem, but like I don't know if it's because of the voting system of how people vote or stuff like that, but there is kind of a bias problem that the Annie Awards is continuously having. And I mean, like watching this, right, like watching like this year's Annies, like seeing Arcane mostly getting everything and Mitchell's getting everything, you know, it's not as enjoyable, and it feels like, you know, are the others like not like are the others just not worth mentioning? Are the others like meaningless? Like movies such as Vivo or Luca or Raya, like their individual achievements, are they just not worth mentioning because they're not Mitchell's versus the Machines?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, you look at Luca too, and it's like that's not even like a bad movie. It's nice and experimental for Pixar. Or is that what Pixar flick?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's nice and experimental for Pixar because it's like at least it's not just another overly emotional film because that's what the other one did. A lot of Pixar films kind of rely on having like an emotional core to it, and sometimes you get like empathy fatigue. You know,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, ah, yes, let's watch the funny fish movie, but It's really about a daughter being reunited with her parents and suffering from like the fish equivalent of Alzheimer's. And it's like, yeah, that's some pretty heavy stuff right there. And it makes me feel sad. And then, you know, you watch like Monsters, Monsters Inc. or like, honestly, most of those Pixar movies have like a very intense emotional core. And I guess I like that a lot, but you can't do that every year and expect it to like keep pulling on the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need a lighthearted adventure about kids being kids.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. But yeah, like as I was saying, like, does it really like it like with the fact that it mostly gives it to just one or maybe two movies? Like, are they just undermining what the others have done? Like, and that's the thing that for me that I feel like with the bias that the Annie Awards kind of has, it kind of takes it away. Like it takes some of the legitimacy away, where the Annie Awards doesn't necessarily have as much worth because of the fact that it's mostly pushing for the one winner.
And COVID also probably is having an effect on not only the selection but the quality of what's coming out. I can't imagine it was easy to be like, what's the cool thing we can hype?
Who
Mitchell's
knows?
and the Machines. Yeah, I guess that was good. That one will be the one that wins all the awards this year.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, I just want to clarify with what I'm saying here. This is not to undermine like the others who did get major wins. Movies like Coco, Spider-Verse, Klaus, Soul, Wolfwalkers, and Mitchell's, like, they're definitely great movies. They definitely do deserve like this kind of recognition, but like when it comes to the recognition that is like this prominent and like overshadowing everything else, that's where I feel like it might have drawn the line.
Yeah,
a bit.
like,
And this is not blaming the movie, it's really blaming how the system of the award show of how it is set up. So that's honestly my piece on it. And again, like, you know, it's great to see like, you know, these projects getting recognition. I just wish for more diversity in terms of the wins and in terms of who would get what. Like if the Mitchells versus the Machines like would end up winning like 4 or 5 Annie Awards, and then like the rest would be split up to like Encanto or Luca or Vivo and stuff like that, I would be perfectly fine with it. Like that would actually be great. But the fact that like it just focuses on one winner and always giving it to one winner and give the grand majority to them, it's just it's tiring, and it's just like, you know, it takes a lot of the legitimacy away.
yeah, it also makes it a lot less interesting to read. Going through like imagine being at the award ceremony and being like, the guy's like, all right, and the Annie for best direction goes to Mitchell's and the Machines, and the Annie for best fart on set goes to Mitchell's and the Machines, and the best voice acting goes to Mitchell's and the Machine. Like, you know, like when it has like 8 awards, you gotta imagine that the guy giving out the awards is like, all right, and you get this one and
can you
this one. And
can you imagine like every year it's like that?
Yeah, like, like why is the rest of this award show here? You know, imagine like being like in the audience, you know, and you're like here representing your film. Let's say you like made something like Luca, and it's like you hear the first one, and it's like best animated movie goes to Mitchell's and the Machines, and you're like, fuck, I'm not gonna get anything.
Yeah,
it's not gonna go to that movie.
Yeah, you know, the irony is that even the director of Luca actually did wrote out on Twitter that he was pretty bummed that he didn't get anything at the Annie. So it's like, what you just said is not that far off.
And that's exactly what happened too, and I didn't it's just like, that's how it is when it's just like you overly appreciate something that, especially when it's like, you know, it's not even like we're getting another Finding Nemo, where that film was basically nominated for an Oscar, and I believe it was, and it was super well deserving of like all the accolades it got, because like it was emotional, it was a well animated movie, it pushed the lines for like 3D animation as a whole. Overall, pioneer of a film that like people are still talking about today. And then you got like Mitchell's and the Machines, and it's like, who the hell is going to be talking about this in a year?
Who knows? Like, honestly, I can't really predict the future on that.
I mean, Netflix could like go down tomorrow, and there's like no way I can consume this media anymore.
Yeah.
Unless if it's like pirated. That's another thing about like stream movies. It's just like, man, it's cool that it's like on the streaming service, but I have to continuously pay like X amount of money a month to have access to it, as opposed to even being able to buy it or like have it in a collection.
Actually, Mitchell's is an exception over here.
Oh crap! They made a movie.
Yeah, they made.
I remember
they actually got DVDs and Blu-rays of it.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay,
Yeah,
I take back everything I said. Thank you for shoving in my mouth. I almost looked real stupid.
but yeah, like honestly, this is just a little piece of criticism. That
I don't mean to hate on that movie so much too.
No.
I just want to say that I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think that it's like wow, that I would. This is the type of movie I expect to have awards, especially over like Encanto, or a lot of the other options. I mean, like even Luca got like snubbed pretty hard, and I didn't even think that was bad. I mean, or I didn't think Luca was much worse. I mean, I put Luca and Mitchell's and versus the Machines on the same level. So for one to be like overwhelmingly represented while one doesn't even like get a footnote, it's like, that's just, that makes me want to root for the underdog a bit. Like, come on, these guys worked hard too.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's exactly what I mean. Is just like, this is just my piece of criticism with how the Annie Awards have been lately, and I do hope in the future like they can revise on it, or they can actually mention it where like it is a noticeable issue, and that maybe in the future for other movies they can disperse their wins and not just give it to just one winner again and again and again, because in the future,
or at the very least like make categories where you can give it to different movies, like best animated sequence, best SFX, best compositing, stuff like that, so you can be like, oh, Luca did do something good.
Well, it's not really that. It's just like, just give it to other winners, because like they are kind of doing that with character design, production design, character animation, storyboarding and stuff like that, but they still end up mostly giving it to the same movie again and again and again. So hopefully in the future, like they will disperse their wins instead of mostly shoving it to one, because again, like seeing a movie dominate during the award shows is definitely awesome to see, like, and it can be quite a highlight. But when it happens every year, it no longer packs as much of a punch, and it kind of takes away a lot of the legitimacy of the award show itself. So hopefully this can be something that the Annies can revise on and improve in the future.
Like something that's like weird for me, right, is that I think the best like story or thing that like animation wise was super impactful to me in 2021 was, believe it or not, Yakuza 7. Didn't think I'd get into that game. Never played a Yakuza before that game, but that game made me cry. That game made me want to get Peking Duck with the squad. All right, like it was such a well done game with like such likable characters, and it's like, I don't like the game because of its gameplay. Its gameplay is so, but like the character and story and like emotion and the just quality voice acting. I didn't play the English one. I heard the English voice actor. I think the Japanese is better, and I'm like a guy with dyslexia that hates reading, so take that as you will. But like that game like really made me feel something and really like inspired me. And then I'm like, well, it's I don't know, it's weird. It's weird that like there isn't like a movie equivalent to it that came out in that whole year. Because like you'd think that like movies have the advantage of being like exclusively focused on the story. Well, Yakuza 7 has like 100 hours of other shit you're doing.
Yeah, but anyways, but still, like, I just need to say congratulations to all the winners at this year's Annie Awards, and well, technically it is mostly the people who worked on Mitchell's versus the Machines, but still, congratulations.
I mean, congrats to those guys.
Yeah,
congrats.
Congratulations nonetheless.
You should be proud as hell of what like you created, because all animation's animation, and all of it's just awesome to look at, and we just been spoiled with so many options to pick from.
Yes. All right, and go on. Sorry.
COVID definitely has been like a huge factor too for like why, like, a lot of these stuff, lot of stuff coming out is either getting delayed or coming out weird, or definitely feels like something's off. I remember watching like Invincible and going like, like the backgrounds, they're like all CGI and look horrible. And I can't imagine that the animators saw that and thought to themselves, this is what I want it to look like. I think they just didn't have time, or something happened there. And I know that happens a lot, with animation, where it's like the last thing that they do is composite the background properly. And I know that COVID is definitely having an effect on that. And I just wish our animators the best of luck, because those people get screwed over all the time, no matter if it's the video game industry, the animation industry. We're like, oh my God, I don't know a group of people that get screwed over less than animators. Well, okay, you can make a lot of arguments for people who get screwed over more than animators.
It's
but
a long story.
They still get screwed over.
Yeah, so with that said, I'd like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about this year's Annie Awards with Mitchell's and Arcane taking most of the awards? Are you guys happy for the winners? Do you have any wins that you wish were switched around? Let me know what you all think on this. Let's see what
people are highlighting messages.
Yeah, it does happen, and it does help out, like for them to pop out. The Annie Awards this year were very surprising. For me, I was very happy that Mitchell's won for Best Animated Feature, and it's definitely one of my favorite animated films of 2021, and Arcane definitely deserve all those wins because, in my opinion, it's one of the best animated series in recent years, even for me who hasn't played League of Legends. Also, I agree that the Annies have a bias for one movie, although at least it's not as bad as the How to Train Your Dragon situation. Oh yeah, that is true. That one went a little too far. Like you probably... What? Go on.
Never mind. I'll read the next highlighted one though.
All right, you can.
But you were saying something about this guy's comment?
Yeah, about the How to Train Your Dragon controversy. Like,
tell me about that. What the hell happened there?
So what happened was that the suspicion became clear that DreamWorks Animation was actually rigging the Annie Awards in their favor, where the grand majority of nominations and wins mostly went to How to Train Your Dragon, even to the point where there are a few categories where it's literally nothing but DreamWorks movies, of like either Shrek Forever After or Megamind or How to Train Your Dragon, and most of them
that's just so cringe.
And it was
so cringe.
And it was on a year where like Disney really was strong as well, and they were flat out shafted and ignored. Like, they put out stuff like Toy Story 3 and Tangled, and like
Tangled was awesome. Toy Story 3
it got nothing.
Was okay.
Like, it got nothing. It barely got any it got barely any nominations even. And
but guys, Shrek Forever After is so good that we don't need to talk about Disney.
And it caused a lot of outrage. Like Disney Disney almost quit on the Annies altogether for that. Like, they almost bailed out and their funding too.
I would have. I mean, like, if I was the head of a large company, and like the people I'm funding literally refuse to even consider my products for whatever. I could see that being a thing. All right, now we got this guy who's I think he's a moderator. JF the lulz or plays.
Oh yes. Oh my god, his comments are always awesome.
On one hand, I absolutely adored Mitchell's vs. the Machines. It was my favorite animated film of 2021, so it hands down earned its wins, as well as Encanto deserving what it got. But on the other hand, nothing for Luca or Vivo or Rhea. I'm not saying this is a similar case to How to Train Your Dragon fiasco, but still, they could have at least gave them something. I also love how Sing 2 got nominated for Best Animated Feature with no other nominations.
Yes, that's one I always find to be so confusing. It's like, okay, you gave Sing one thing, but why does it have to be the big one? You got
imagine if it was like, what if it won?
Oh my god, that would be such a massive plot twist. Like just
like Best Animated Feature, Sing 2, and then like Mitchell's and the Machines wins like everything else.
Yes, yeah, it's like everything's built up. You give all the categories to Mitchell's, and then suddenly Best Animated Feature, Sing 2. Like honestly, that would be one thing that I could take away everything that I've said so far in this podcast, and honestly, it would just be perfect. Give the one big important one to Sing 2.
It didn't have the best script, not the best animation, not the best editing, not the best direction, but as one sum total, Sing 2 is just better than the sum of its parts. It works in a way. God, like what are they thinking? If something doesn't even get nominated for any other thing and it just doesn't stand out in any way, why would it even be a contender?
I am honestly shocked. I would have switched that with Vivo personally. Let's see what other comments we got.
Okay, we got Oscar Marquez 4 says, all I can say is congratulations to Sony Pictures Animations and whoever made Arcane on winning too many Annie Awards for the Mitchells versus Machines and Arcane. Sorry, really learned a lesson. Sorry. Sony really learned the lessons of their past and are making animation their main priority and being creative compared to other animation studio. I think what he meant to say is, and being compared to other animation studios.
Probably.
But yeah, I mean, Sony's definitely picking themselves up, but I mean, like, when the bar is as low as the Emoji Movie, it's not really hard to jump over that.
Well, then again, going from Emoji Movie to Spider-Verse is definitely an admirable feat.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like it's the same director. They hired talent that happened to know how to do their job. And I'm not gonna award Sony for hiring people that know how to make movies and letting them make the damn movie that they should be allowed to make. I will give credit though to those directors and the amazing people behind the movies that Sony did hire. Because those are the people putting in the labor and work and energy into making something that isn't the fucking Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
God, Patrick Stewart, and he's like, I get to play Pooh.
Yeah,
like, that's something. He's like, oh man, I've always wanted to be shit.
All right, let's see what else we got. So this year we didn't get just one sweep at the awards, but two. I do agree that sweeps happen a bit too often during the Annies, and they really need to work on diversifying their winners better. As for the big winners, I haven't had the time to watch Mitchell's yet, but from what I have heard about it, I do think that it did rightfully earn some of the awards it won. Arcane, meanwhile, didn't just earn its awards, it deserved them. That show is simply the pinnacle of video game adaptations. All right, let's see. This is a great weekend for both Sony and Netflix for seeing the Mitchells winning. Sure, it didn't win over a BAFTA where Encanto won, which I congratulate Disney Animation for that win, but winning both Critics' Choice Awards and 8 Annie wins at the Annies is awesome. Same goes to Arcane, as it's one of the most stunning adult animated shows I have seen. I also applaud other winners, including Flea, Ratchet & Clank, Maya, and The Three, so congrats to those winners. Alright, I think I'll read one more.
We got one who just highlighted a message. Let's read him. This guy's called Scootacular Gleason. I'm God, I'm so sorry. Indeed, congratulations to the winners, yet mostly in the words of Robin Williams, whistle their bias. But like last year regarding the WBA, it is a disappointment that it is a disappointment that got snubbed from their latest project, including Space Jam Legacy and technically T&J, for mostly their visual achievements, especially the 2D animation from the former, in a similar way to Stand Alone. Man, I am really struggling to read this. I am sorry. I'm passing the mic to you. I apologize.
No, it's
I'm just
perfectly fine.
It takes me a while to learn how to read scripts. I just wanted to help you out.
No, it's fine. It's fine. If you want me to go and do like to read the comments, like I could take I could take it. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. You have the same chat scrolls as me. You read this. Maybe you can
let's see. Okay, so let's go and redo this. Indeed, congratulations to the winners, yet mostly, in the words of Robin Williams, whistle their bias. But like last year regarding WBA, it is a disappointment that got snubbed from their latest projects, including Space Jam Legacy and technically Tom and Jerry for mostly their visual achievements, especially the 2D animation from the former, in a similar way to the standalone Mary Poppins sequel, as a worthy eye candy popcorn experience, regardless of the polarizing story execution. All right. Well, so with that said, yeah, again, congratulations.
Everyone likes Mitchell and the Machines. Good movie.
Yeah.
I wish I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah, congratulations to the winners, and hopefully maybe next year we will see more winners. And I do mean more winners instead of another sweep.
What are you talking about? The new Spider-Man movie's already won every award. All of them.
Yeah, the sad truth is that could be the case next year.
They added other options because they're looking for something that they could award other people with. But I mean, Spider-Man just won those other options too. It's just going to be that good, guys. Remember, hype never leads to disappointment.
All right, so moving on to our next story, we got a couple of trailers that we are going to go and check out. And speaking of Netflix, we actually got a trailer for a series that people have been highly anticipated for. The first season of this show has been massively praised, and animation fans are just loving it so far and have been waiting for the next season to come. And now the moment has finally arrived. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving.
Wait, before we get into this, I actually have an interesting story related to this. I remember, like, before COVID was, like, going crazy, me and Blame It on Jorge went over to New York to basically go to this, like, Lost Media thing, because they were airing some of the lost episodes and scenes from Sesame Street. Like the creators of Sesame Street were, and we wanted to go there. So, we went down to New York, and all over New York is advertising for this Green Eggs and Ham show. And I remember seeing that all the time in Times Square. So, like, they've invested some serious money into this.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that a billboard spot in Times Square is cheap.
No, I think it literally is the most expensive animated series created, honestly.
Whoa, really? All right, let's watch the trailer. I'm excited.
Right. So let's see this.
Back! It's finally time to track down Sam and the crew and see what fun awaits us in season 2.
That must be where my mother is. That's why we should get going. Mom, where are you?
It looks like a movie.
I am an international super spy.
Sources believe the laboratory break-in may be related to ongoing hostility between the nations of Yukia and Zukia.
If those souks were to get their hands on the Mulakamu, we'll be defenseless. Find the Mulakamu.
If you're going to be a spy, you need to act like one.
Gotcha!
This is so extra.
This is so exciting!
Now she's not the mommiest mom that's ever mommed.
You, Sam, you are the holdup. It's time for you to go home. Son of a yip.
Mom, language!
You're not from around here, are you?
You're not meeting her!
You're not meeting him. I'm never letting you out of my sight again.
Oh! When you love someone, you have to keep trying. You never give up.
Are you sure you're ready for this, Papa?
Welcome to Inventor Heaven.
If you can't get your weapon up and running before then, Zukia will be destroyed.
The Zooks may have some crazy ideas about toast, but
those evil Yooks.
There's only one way to do it. We're all the same.
We gotta get the Moolaka Moo before it's too late.
What have you done?
Time to finish the mission and save the world.
I don't see how this day could get any...
And that is Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving, which is going to be coming to Netflix on April 8th. So, Creepy, what did you think about what you just saw?
So, it's very extra for something that is like Dr. Seussian. Because, like, you know, whenever I think Dr. Seuss, I think of those, like, fun animated shorts. But this feels very Hollywood, is the word that I use. Okay. At least the trailer does. I need to go and watch the thing to make sure that, you know, my initial impressions aren't what they are, but it feels very Hollywood. Like, one of the lines that stuck out to me is that, like, you know, the music cuts and then the guy goes, "You're not from around here, are you?" And it's like, I've heard that in so many trailers. Like, a lot of these lines feel like I've heard them before in other trailers, and maybe that's more on the, like, the people who made the trailer as opposed to who made the show. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's really funny too. I don't know, the word Zooks and, like, the way that people were saying it, it just felt like they're saying a racial slur with, like, the tone and inflection. It's like, we gotta stop those Zooks. Like, I feel dirty just saying it. I don't know. It's just like the word Zooks feels like it has history behind it. Like, if I were to go up to the wrong person and call him a Zook, then I get in trouble.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I thought that was funny. There's the animation just looks like the Curious George movie, but, like, in a TV show, which is kind of nuts. So I can see why it's very expensive. The animation's do we know, like, what it's animated in? Is that like Toon Boom or?
Probably. I would probably guess Toon Boom, but I haven't checked into the specifics. I haven't fully researched on that yet. But yeah, I definitely do agree. Like, one of the big highlights and, like, one of the big appeals of Green Eggs and Ham is, like, the animation, where, like, this is like with the hand-drawn animation that they have provided, or 2D animation, like, this is, like, full-on top quality. It is beautiful to look at, especially with what they did here. It's like it has a bit of that style of Dr. Seuss. Like, they did kind of they took some creative liberties with it, but still, it definitely is appealing to look at. The animation, the movements are smooth, and even the use of CG does blend well with what they are working on. And especially with the trailer that we've seen here, it looks like they are making it a lot more action-packed, especially with the fact that the main story is not necessarily going to be about Green Eggs and Ham, but they're really like, the main plot line is based on the Butter Battle book. Like, you know the Butter Battle book?
I have not.
Really?
The only like Dr. Seuss is a bit of a gray area. I know a lot of his political work, and I know a lot of, like, you know, I've seen the original Lorax. I watched that weird, obscure, like, Halloween animation that had the Grinch in it.
Mm-hmm.
That one was a spooky one. And I've seen, like, the new Lorax and was, like, horrified as I watched my childhood get perverted into capitalism. How bad can I be?
Oh God, yeah, that was cringe right there.
It's like, man, I can't pay my workers money. I pay them in I don't know, a special cryptocurrency, ham coin. Please don't do that. Don't make ham coin and actually do that. Don't turn that into a scam, people, please.
Don't worry. It looks like the whole crypto thing is really going downhill now, so you probably shouldn't worry about that.
I'm so glad, but yeah, I haven't seen the Butter Battle stuff. I've only seen a lot of like his short stories. I've seen a lot of his art, like even just like outside of like the books. Have you ever like looked into Dr. Seuss's like art, like his personal art?
Oh yeah, a lot of it is actually quite interesting.
Yeah, he did this thing. I think there's like one called People Watching, and he would like draw his neighbors, like just as bird people, doing their stuff. And like I think no one knew about that until like after he died, and he had like all these paintings that he'd done released. I like that one that was like a bunch of cats too, where it's just like he drew as many cats as he could on a canvas, and it's like 700 cats.
Yeah.
That one was fun.
Yeah, but just to mention about the Butter Battle book, unfortunately, this is a case where the Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving, came in at a very perfect time, because the Butter Battle book is actually it's Dr. Seuss's commentary against war. Like the Butter Battle book he made as a response of the Vietnam War, and considering how things are going on right now, it's like kind of an unfortunate coincidence that like now Green Eggs and Ham is actually going to get into the Butter Battle book, where we see these two countries of like Ukiah and Zukia, like pretty much on the verge of like really going after each other. And if you don't know what it is, it really is the case of like two neighboring territories fighting each other over which side of their bread they put their butter on, either butter side up or butter side down.
It reminds me of Claws.
Oh,
because like that.
Yes, like, I get what you mean. Yeah. Like you got two different sides just like constantly going after each other.
Those damn Zooks just buttering the wrong side of the bread. I'd kill them.
Yeah.
Whoa, Harold, calm down.
Yeah, that's pretty
just
much
bread.
That's pretty
Don't
much
forget about the spilt milk, Tony.
Yeah, you laugh, but that's actually how the book goes. And it's like you see the kind of like Seussical contraptions that they made that get like bigger and bigger and more intimidating. And it looks like that's exactly the kind of tone that we are seeing in this trailer so far, that they want to go and like also include their commentary on war. And like you see Sam I Am and the other guy like trying to see if they could try to settle the conflict that's currently going on, as Sam I Am is looking for his mother, which apparently is a spy now.
That's crazy.
Oh,
it is.
It
is just insane to see Dr. Seuss get this kind of love.
And of course.
I don't know. It's weird, and I have to look into it. Have you seen season 1?
Honestly, no, I have not, but I have heard a lot of great things about it. And like I said, this is one where it was highly anticipated. Like people were very much excited for it. So I can definitely see why, though. I do understand the praise. I do understand why people really do enjoy it, especially like with the high quality animation that they do bring out. And especially how like they did manage to take like a simple children's book like Green Eggs and Ham and really turn that into a series. Like they managed to legitimately get the job done.
You saw like the animation there, like that looks straight up like an early 2000s 2D animated film, like Sinbad or Curious George, or I'm trying to think of another one like that. Say what you want about like On the Range or Home
on the Range.
Home on the Range, like say bad movie, awful movie. People who wrote that movie, or rather the executives that made that movie be that way, should be ashamed of themselves for probably more than just that too. I heard some crazy things going on at Disney. But point is that movie, I mean, it looks like the animation from that movie where it's just like, you know, the shadows are very deep and very realistic, even though it's like on a flat, well-rendered character where like the fur's moving. You know, it's, you know, you're not getting any of the anime stuff where it's like still image. I mean, you see the guy talking and like the side fur is like, you know, changing the curve. And like, you know, like there's some stuff like at the edges that like take manual animation, and that like takes time to like animate the face like moving, which is like a lot of stuff. Like, you know, like Demon Slayer and like other anime and cartoons will often like put their characters in the stationary position, but you know, with the way that these characters are designed, you can't really do that because there's too many moving parts in the face for that to even be like, I guess, cost effective. And I mean, they took that challenge and they're just like doing it. It looks great from the trailer.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, unlike video games, animation trailers don't try to bullshot you.
Yeah, like with the animation that we see here, like if they would suddenly make a movie and it would make it look exactly like this, honestly, it would still look phenomenal. Like I really do admire the work that they did put in on the animation for that.
I'm 100% excited to give season 1 a watch after seeing that trailer. I mean, it seems like there's a lot more than what I initially thought was going on. I thought it was like a preschool thing because green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
And this ties back into that thing where it's like, I like media that has like a bite to it, right? And I mean, they're talking about war, and we're literally like on the precipice of going to war. And that's a pretty hot take to be given to kids.
Oh yeah.
Like war is bad, children.
Yeah,
like even though we're like getting ready to go up into our patriotic jingo phase of.
Yeah, it's just like what I said. It's very coincidental, and unfortunately coincidental, that Green Eggs and Ham is coming out with a story that is based on the Butter Battle book while all this is happening. So they are coming in at the perfect time. But then again, like maybe maybe it is like the story that we need right now to remind ourselves that no, we maybe like we should find an alternative than to go to war.
That's what like entertainment is good for. It's like it helps you re-examine, you know, things in real life, or even if it's not even just like re-examining, it doesn't even need to be preachy. It just needs to help you like come to terms with like something going on. Like I mean, say what you want about the nostalgia critic, I think he's kind of a person, but he did say something right in his like top 11 animated shows list, or animated I think it was like actually specifically about South Park, and the 9/11 episode of South Park. That one was one of those things that like kind of America kind of needed at the time it came out, because it's like showing how everyone's wigging out and like going catatonic in front of the TV and criticizing the sensationalist news media that takes a one-day tragedy and stretches it over 6 months while making everyone literally afraid to leave their homes. And South Park kind of, you know, like released that episode, and I don't know, it kind of really helped people laugh about the situation and feel more comfortable with it. I don't know. But yeah, that's just I'm not saying that this is going to be equivalent to that, but you know, it's just like when media has like a bite to it or something to say, it makes me want to listen more.
Yes. Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah, you know, like there's, and it's not like everything needs to say something, but stuff that does say something usually just, you know, I like it better because, you know, it's trying to do something with the time that it's taking up. And, you know, sometimes, of course, sometimes pure escapism is fine, but that's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, like maybe like, while unfortunate that like it did came in at the perfect time, then again, it is coming in at the perfect time to retell a story that we need to hear, considering our current circumstances that we're going after. So honestly, I do applaud what Warner Brothers and Netflix is currently doing with with Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving. And again, so far with what the trailer is presenting us, it is extremely impressive. It looks really nice. And if you guys are excited to see the second serving, then keep in mind it is coming soon on Netflix on April 8th. So
another thing that is cool too, and it's something you have to consider, is that most people, a lot of people nowadays, were born after 9/11 and really don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And now they're kind of going through a similar situation with this Ukraine stuff. And I guess it's kind of cool that people who are younger that don't necessarily have a good avenue to explore these uncomfortable feelings, because let's face it, every news media outlet talking about it is doing their best to scare the shit out of you. And I don't know, it's kind of cool that like there is potentially some awesome comforting media that like younger people can partake in that might help them cope with the situation a bit more. And that's something that a lot we have to consider too, that this isn't media targeted, at me, 24-year-old dumb butt that talks about the most messed up stuff on the internet. It's targeted mostly at like, probably like, I want to say 7 to 14-year-olds based on like what I'm looking at there.
Yeah.
Because like there's some of the cliches they're using is like the kind of cliches that like me as an adult have seen 100 times, but someone who's a lot younger probably haven't, and for them that cliche will seem a lot more powerful. So I don't misjudge it just because the trailer was perhaps a little generic. Just lied. You're not from around here, are you?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I've heard that in so many.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is a fish out of water story, isn't it?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that is true. That is one thing trailers do so many times. Like you hear the music and someone's like, "You're not from around here, are you?" Like that is such a common thing. But anyways, let's go into the chat wall, and I would like to know your thoughts on what we have seen so far with Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving. Are you guys excited for it? Are you liking what you see? Are you guys a little bit iffy on some of the things that they're showing? Let me know what you think. Hold on a sec.
And don't forget to get my ham coin.
Yeah, you go promote that.
As a YouTuber, it's my job to exploit my audience for profit.
All right, let's see. I absolutely love the first season of Green Eggs and Ham, and this looks just as fantastic. The animation is still tremendous. The storyline is a lot more creative and energetic like last time. And why lie? It's just really fun saying Mula Kamu. I'm definitely going to go watch it, but if they can adapt the Butter Battle book, what's stopping them from adapting stuff like The Grinch? Maybe The Grinch could finally quote the Billboard memes by saying, "I'm gonna drown you to death in my green cup." Let's go and cut there. Honestly, I don't know if they can do any of like the real big name ones. I mean, technically, like, yeah, Warner Brothers is also going to be doing in the future, like many of the Dr. Seuss movies. They're going to do like a Cat in the Hat movie and stuff like that. I don't know if they can do Grinch now, because like, keep in mind that Illumination movie is still pretty recent. It's more than 3 years old so far, so I don't know if they're gonna do any of the bigger stuff, but like
that movie,
we'll see. It came out.
Man, I remember seeing trailers for it and then hearing nothing about it, which is never a good sign.
Yeah, it came out back in late 2018, I recall.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
That recent.
I remember like seeing trailers for it at like the movie theater, and then just like nothing else. Just like I saw the trailers and then I went out of my life and then I've heard nothing else about it. And typically that's indicative of a property that isn't very fantastic.
Or, well, I mean, the property is great. It's just the adaptation itself is, meh.
Or no, like when I say the property, I'm referring to that movie specifically.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got. I have seen the first season of Green Eggs and Ham, and I find the season to be enjoyable and one of, if not the best thing to ever come out of Dr. Seuss adaptations. With the second season, I think it's not going to be good as the first, as this season leaned towards the spy elements. I don't know if it'll live up to the first season, but expecting the second season to be all right. Yeah, that is true. What did you think of like the whole spy narrative they're trying to do so far?
I think that like kids will think it's really cool. And
Okay.
I think as like, you know, a thing where they're trying to appeal to that like 7-year-old to like 14-year-old demographic, I think that they're going to think that that's really cool, and it's going to add like a bit of an edge that, you know, because like, you know, when you're a kid, Green Eggs and Ham, all this stuff, children, toddler stuff. I'm too old for that. But you add like, I don't know, some really awesome animation. You make it seem like it's for older people. Suddenly, you know, like the older kids can feel a little less immature watching it. I know when I was a kid, like I wouldn't want to watch things like Fairly Odd Parents with my parents in the room because I didn't want them to think that I was like immature or whatever. I don't know. I personally would be like, I could probably enjoy this without the spy stuff, but I gotta kind of like see the film before I can judge it. I'm trying to think of this from the perspective of a younger person, and if I was younger, my initial thought would be, oh, I don't want to watch this. This is for babies. But I would like watch that trailer and be like, nah, wait a minute. There's some cool stuff here. Spies are awesome. I watched Kim Possible.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do get it because, like, worst case, it could fall, like, the spy stuff could fall into the cringe of, like, Cars 2, but if done right, then it shouldn't be something to worry about.
Especially when they're talking about the message of, like, war is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Spying and all that stuff is a part of war. So it makes sense, at least in the context of the movie. But that said, I've been fooled before. I've seen Secret Agent Cody Banks. I know what these guys can do, and I know how generic and bad it can be.
You're saying you're saying that you don't enjoy the masterpiece that is Secret Agent Cody Banks?
No, I loved it so much as a kid, but as an adult, it's like, damn, I wasted my life on this.
Yeah.
How could I have been that into the dude? You want to know something messed up? One of my favorite movies as a kid is that like stupid robots movie. You know my criteria?
Yeah.
My criteria? I think robots are cool. As a kid, I loved robots. You know, I wanted a Robo Sapien. I wanted that Robo Raptor thing. Anything with robots I thought was cool. And that movie called Robots, you know, I just like seeing them move, you know, like, oh my God, that's so cool. They don't like have like mommy daddy time to make babies. They instead like just build them like it's a Lego set. That's so cool. His dad's like a dishwasher. I don't know. Going back to it now, yeah, I understand why I wouldn't watch the movie with my mom in the room. That movie is embarrassing to watch.
Oh,
I
damn.
felt so uncomfortable. Like, I hope no one catches me watch. I would rather be caught on Pornhub than like caught watching robots again.
Oh,
so you know, but like that's the thing. You know, the priorities kids have for picking a movie they want to watch is very different than what an adult might want. And from the perspective of a kid, I think the spy stuff's cool. And I hope they make a good spy thing and not a bad spy thing. And that's all we can hope for.
Yeah. Let's see. This trailer really got me excited. I absolutely love the first season of Green Eggs and Ham and consider it the best Dr. Seuss adaptation to date and better than it had any right to be. And this has a lot of potential. I really like how we get to see a lot of the relationships between Sam and his mom, on top of also seeing the relationship between Guy and the little girl. So overall, I'm really excited for this season, and I hope the 2.5 year long wait will be worth it. All
2.5 years, dang.
Yeah, it's been a while since the first season, actually. And I mean, like, with this kind of quality, it does take time to create.
I do apologize, by the way, if, like, you know, I came a little ill-prepared. I probably would have watched more stuff in preparation.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Let's see. How many more movies / shows are we going to have that whole character goes to look for his missing parent plot? That whole thing just seems like it's starting to get a bit old by this point. Also, is this a really good time to release this given what's going on in Russia right now? Aside from that, I'm excited for this new season and I can't wait to watch it. Also, I'm not sure how this is going to do considering that this is coming out on the same day as Sonic 2. That is true. Well, honestly, like, yeah, I know it seems like a bit awkward that it is going into that subject matter, but then again, no, I think it is a good time. Like, now is actually a great time to have that discussion.
Dude, like, kids are probably, like, super uncomfortable with what's going on. They you know, a lot of like people who are born in the last 10 years don't really get what it's like for your nation to be gearing up for an armed conflict. Now, I happen to be born before 9/11, and I know what that's like. And it was scary and uncomfortable. And I'm glad I had shows like South Park and these other like animations at the time and school specials and all that stuff that helped me come to terms and understand what was happening and why it's important while I was living through it. I think keeping your kids in ignorance doesn't necessarily mean that they get to live in bliss. It just means that they don't get to understand why they feel like crap. And I'm kind of glad that even if it's not directly criticizing the Russian-Ukraine war thing going on right now, even if it's just like a thing talking about war and characters learning how to deal with that, I think that can be very helpful.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool. I think that's exactly what we younger people need. I hate saying that. I'm only 24. I'm still babu myself. But you know, when you got to look at the age demographic that they're targeting and ask yourself, does this seem like a thing that demographic could use? And I say yes, very much so.
Yeah. All right, so with that said, let's go and move on to our next story. And speaking of Sonic 2, that is actually going to be our next story. Considering right now, as we are recording this, people are pretty much excited for the for the movie, and even really admiring the marketing for the film and some of the advertising that is a full-on tribute to Sonic the Hedgehog 2, like even the video game. And what we got here, which was released today, is actually the final trailer that's going to be coming out before the movie is officially released. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer now for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the final trailer.
Do you want me to be quiet, by the way, while the trailer's going on, or?
Yeah, like I am going to be playing the trailer.
Okay, I'll try to leave my commentary for the end.
All right, awesome.
Oh, great, the Winter Soldier.
These rings signify the commitment.
So help me, Thomas!
Sorry. Life or death situation, I need you to use the ring to save me, like right now.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Hawaii.
I just hope we're not too late.
Oh Lord, there are two of them now.
What's happening?
Okay, quick version. Robotnik is back.
I discovered the source of ultimate power.
We need to get it back or the world is doomed.
You brought some kind of space porcupine.
I am an echidna warrior.
Hedgehog.
It's time to say goodbye to humanity. Welcome to the new norm.
This is your moment to be the big hero.
Bad time to say this, but I don't actually have a plan. Hey, you got a little something on your... belly?
Someone call an Uber? It's cold in here. Let's turn up the heat.
Oh, great, the Winter Soldier. Fear not, citizen.
You are terrible at this!
Your negative attitude is not helping.
We stick together, no matter what.
You're unskilled. Untrained. Unworthy.
You forgot one. Unstoppable.
Stand still and die!
For a guy named Knuckles, you are really bad at punching.
And that is the final trailer of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, coming out in theaters on April 8th. Now, I remember from our previous discussions, Creepy, you did enjoy the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, right?
I mean, how do I explain it? Because I enjoy it, but I don't think it's good.
Okay.
I think it's entertaining. I think that there's a lot of stuff in there that personally jives with my funny bone.
Mm-hmm.
I think any time Sonic says something that's modern or is a pop culture reference, it's instantly funny. And it's because I think it's cringe, and that makes me laugh. So for me, it's very funny comedy gold that is so good because I find its source material to be so bad. Now I think the movie itself, if we were gonna take the Sonic element out of it and my own personal bias out of it, I think it's a solid 6 or 7 out of 10. Not a bad movie, not an average movie. Certainly better than what I expected, but not so good that I'd be recommending it to people outside of the meme value. But seeing Robotnik look at an image of Sonic's feet and go yes, yes, makes me go, it's fucking dumb. And hearing Sonic in this trailer go somebody call an Uber? Yeah, man. Someone called an Uber. I don't know. It's there's a lot of comedy, or at least unintentional comedy, when you acknowledge how ridiculous the situation is and just accept it for what it is. If you're looking at the first movie, everything but Sonic was dumb. Sonic himself was given a dumb backstory and given a dumb personality. I mean, it could have worked, but I feel it's just one of those things where I've seen it so many times in those directed DVD Disney movies that they played on the Disney Channel, where it's man, I don't have a complete family, and I think I want to do this with my life. And time to go on a life-changing adventure with a mystical animal that will change my perspective. Man's literally being called a terrorist, and he's just showing his badge to people. I'm a cop in Mississippi. That's I don't know. There's a lot that doesn't make sense of the movie, and the movie is mostly an excuse to put together these awesome looking animated set pieces and have Sonic be a entertaining, funny personality. And there's a lot of stuff to detract from that, the main character just being written in a way where it's he doesn't have a character. He's there to push the plot forward. He's there to have a funny straight man that Sonic can play off of. And that's his role in the movie. It doesn't matter if he's literally a terrorist in the eyes of the government and has his face all over Dateline NBC. What really matters is that he can be the guy that goes, Sonic, you can't beat people up, or you gotta hide in my duffel bag. Hope you don't make weird noises in there so it doesn't look like we're, I don't know, kidnapping a child. Sonic! It's just, and to me, I think that's funny. I think that's really funny and stupid, and like stupid that so much money was put into such a dad joke. You can't help but like it goes from like funny, unfunny to really funny again. And I feel like this movie is definitely going to be more of the same of that. I don't think it's going to be a good movie on its own terms, but I still think it's going to be worth watching just because, like I said, it's Sonic. You know, I mean, Christian might be dead, but Sonic himself is still a goddamn meme.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit on the same page as you, where for me, the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie is kind of like a 6 out of 10-ish. I just feel like it's the same thing as like that Easter movie Hop, except you just switch the Easter Bunny with Sonic the Hedgehog. Like
That's funny. Yeah, and that's really funny. like on a purely entertainment level, you take Hop, replace the main character with Sonic the Hedgehog, and bam, comedy gold, million ticket sales. I mean, you've got my money.
Yeah, like I really did enjoy like some stuff. Like the action scenes are great. The visuals that they've made is really cool. And I mean, Jim Carrey just being Jim Carrey, like doing what he used to do best, like is such a joy to watch. But other than that, like the movie itself, it's like, you know, it was just But I will say though, that with the sequel that we got, I feel like they're going to be like, they will deliver us more of what we do want to see, more of like the Sonic characters, more so than the narrative with James Marsden and the other human characters.
Blaze the Cat. Give me that like silver hedgehog from 2006. You know, do like the weird religious stuff that Sonic was doing, you know, with like Ifrit and like the weird soundtracks that had to be change because you know, they use that one royalty free sample pack that contains that Islamic prayer. Give me like some of that stuff for this movie and I'll be so happy. I just want this movie to be bloated. I want there to be so many characters. I want the movie not to make sense. I want Sonic to keep just going like Uber, DoorDash, Skittles.
So basically go
all ahead energy drink. like just do that. Like have them unabashedly advertise dumb stupid crap to me and I'll be laughing my ass off while Jim Carrey does a jig in the background.
So basically go all out with the craziness, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're not gonna make a good movie, we should make a hype bullshit movie. I think there is value in the entertainment, for sure.
Yeah, like
I think the entertainment is so. I think the entertainment's going to be so worth watching it, and just being a part of the cultural memes that this movie is for sure going to generate.
Oh yeah,
is worth right alone.
No, like in the marketing already, we're seeing it embrace like the Sonic meme culture, and like from what we are seeing here, like like I think worst case scenario, it's gonna be a popcorn flick, but still like they are showing us a lot of like intense action scenes so far. Like one great example, like what could possibly be the grand finale is that we see the main all the characters fighting against like the giant Eggman robot. Like that's going to be one that everybody is going to be hyped up to check out, like with this particular shot over here.
In the first movie when the old man's like, I swear I seen that hedgehog, look, I drew a picture, and it's like the Sonic Sonic meme. Like we need more stuff like that. We need like a drawing, like we need like a drawing that's like similar to like Sonichu's first page, and then have Sonic go like, not going anywhere near that one. like we need more stuff like that like acknowledges how weird and amazing the Sonic community is. I'm not into Sonic stuff. I played the games as a kid. I grew up in the Sonic Battle era, so you know I thought Sonic is Shadow the Hedgehog. I thought he was the coolest. You see, because he's the guy who crossed his arms and said the word "damn."
Yeah, the edge. Yeah, the edge.
Damn it! Damn!
And he had a gun. Don't forget his gun.
I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, except instead of running, I got rocket boots, and instead of using my fast speed, I pull out my Glock. Glock 97 with the extended magazine.
Yeah, looking back at
damn you, Eggman! How could you have taken my girlfriend?
Yeah, looking back at that 2005 game, oh my god, it's like it's kind of laughable how edgy it tries to be.
But as like a kid, I thought it was cool. I've always found anthropomorphic designs to be entertaining and interesting. But I never really was able to get into Sonic like other people did. I mean, I of course was into Brony fandom in like 2011 when I was like 13, 14, whatever. And I got super into that. And so I could like understand why the Sonic fandom exists and is around and why, you know, they're culturally relevant. But I never really got a chance to join that fandom. I feel like I was a little bit too late to, you know, like when your first Sonic game is like 2006 and like Battle, like my first one was Battle, but like the second one I played was 2006. And I remember playing with my older brother and it let you pick which character, but they didn't like lock off characters that physically couldn't complete the level. So like you'd be playing Silver, right? And Silver isn't fast and doesn't have a dash and doesn't have like the homing attack. He has like the ability to levitate stuff. So you're playing through the level and then you just get to this point where it's like, oh, you need to jump and dash through this enemy and then use him as a bouncing point to get on this wall. And it's like, but Silver can't do that. Why is he selectable? This part of the mission is literally impossible. And like, even as like, you know, I'm 97, so 2006, like I'm like 9 years old. I see that and I'm just like, that's horrible. This is horrible. Dad, why would you buy something so bad?
Well, I mean, it's the 2006 game. That has a very infamous reputation of just being bad.
Yeah, so that's why I never really got into the Sonic franchise. I imagine that people are super into Sonic will really appreciate the movie because like the last one was just a love letter to all the Sonic people. And I think it's really funny to laugh at the Sonic community from the outside, but I also know a lot of really cool people that work on Sonic on the inside. I have a buddy who's done a lot of art for the channel. His name is Novica, and he is like full on going into making YouTube videos about Sonic. I know LS Mark is another content creator that definitely focuses a lot on the Sonic stuff. So I really do appreciate the people that are like interested in it, and I appreciate the passion and love that community has. But goddamn, is it strange and funny from the outside to just like watch the drama, to go on DeviantArt and just see what comes out and be like, oh my god, I'm shocked, disgusted, yet intrigued. What the hell?
I'm disgusted but curious.
like you know, you gotta look at this stuff and be like, this is so amusing and bizarre, and you gotta appreciate that. You gotta appreciate that.
Oh yeah, like the Sonic fandom is pretty much an entire fandom in itself. It's unique in its own way, for better or for worse, but yeah, like I know I even have some friends who are a part of the Sonic fandom, and like I can understand how they can really enjoy it. And like honestly, there is a part of me that does admire their dedication, like still sticking with them, like with the games through thick and thin. Like even mentioning like how like there might be some recovery for some of them. I mean, in recent years, we have seen like some good Sonic games that did come out. Like Sonic Mania was definitely a blast and a great throwback to like the classic Genesis games. But yeah, like with the Sonic fandom, they are a breed of their own kind. Like still some great people. Like I know one guy for many years, Sonic Guru. His name is Dan. Great guy, and like with Sonic, it definitely has a whole legacy in itself. But often there can be some bad stories that do come with the Sonic fandom.
Yeah, of course. There's like bad stories of like any fandom. Like I was into Brony fandom. I had like, oh my god. I mean, like I think that fandom is being accused of like having a bunch of Nazis in it now, and like also, you know, it's one of those things where like a lot of people who have zero boundaries and who really aren't socially all there do some really cringe, horrible things at conventions almost on a yearly basis. I remember I went to BronyCon, the last one, or rather, I went to the one before the last one because it's like, you know, when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to it, and I didn't know how long it was going to be around, so I ended up going there because one of my friends was a vendor, and I basically roomed with them. I wanted to experience the convention, you know, just as something that I couldn't experience as a kid. And like that hall was the most disgusting. Like these guys have been running conventions for I don't know how many years, like since 2011, 2012. And you go to the main floor hall at this convention that is supposedly for like kids, and there's like Dakimakras, like just like as soon as you walk in. Dakimakras of like sexualized positions, sometimes of the underage characters in the show, like of Apple Bloom and stuff. And I remember, this was very embarrassing for me. And I have no problem calling this out because this is very embarrassing for me because Applejack, the voice actor for Applejack's dad, comes to the stand to talk to me because, you know, like I'm imagining that he's probably a bit uncomfortable, and he's wearing this cute Captain Picard costume. You can tell that like this guy doesn't really like go to these types of things very often. He's here to support his daughter, and he's like, my kid is the one that voices that character, Applejack, and it's so cool to see how many people are in line to see her and all this other stuff. And I'm like having this conversation with him. Well, I'm surrounded by these full body pillow Dakimakras with like horses sticking their butts out, and I'm just like going like, nah. I'm not one of these people. I'm just here to help the vendors. I swear I'm not a pervert. And like the next year they fixed it up a bit. They made like the Dakimakras more in the back, but there were still like, I think there's like one person who had a stand, and it was like a content creator, and I don't want to start drama, but if you were there, you would have seen them like next to another person, and they had a Dakimakra of their like persona in like panties. And I think that like trying to sexualize your persona to the world can, as a content creator, can create a very dangerous parasocial relationship that you don't necessarily want to be promoting. Like, you know, I don't want people to become infatuated with something that's so closely tied to my identity, but also this is a convention where I'm routinely seeing young children running around. And I'm like, I walk into the vendor hall and it's just like very sexually charged. Someplace that I don't think children should be. Yet there's like, just like no one caring. And it's just like, I was surprised at how like prevalent it was. And that these guys have been doing this like convention for like how many years. And like, this is like, I swear to God, I should not have been the first person to complain about that. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what went wrong. But it was the most embarrassing thing to be sitting there in the center of all this, talking to one of the voice actors' dads, and like just trying both of us trying our best to ignore the elephant in the room. And just be like, yeah, these guys, I mean, they're pretty cool, I appreciate it. But I imagine the Sonic fandom is very much like the same thing.
A little bit. I mean, like, I don't have much detail on like how deep that rabbit hole goes, but I mean, there's a lot of fandoms can have like their dark sides as well, and I mean, Sonic can't, like, there's no denying that there is like a massive dark side to Sonic, but overall though, like, going back to what we were talking about with the movie, do you think you're gonna watch it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna watch it. I watched the other one. I'm gonna watch this one. I'm probably gonna see if I can, like, I don't know, when does it come out?
In a few weeks, April 8th.
April 8th. Ah, darn. I was gonna, man, this would be like such a cool movie if they like released it during VidCon and we could, like, get a bunch of our YouTube buddies.
Oh.
And shit post. It's one of those movies I think is best enjoyed while drunk. Like I imagine like you will have a great time if you bring your buddies, especially if like they're in on it, they get it, the Sonic culture, and you all just like have a good blast at the expense of this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yes, folks, if you guys are excited for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie number 2, then keep in mind it will be coming out on the big screen on April 8th. So with that said, I'd like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, what did you think of the trailer for Sonic 2? Are you guys hyped up for it? If you're a fan of the first one, what do you think so far of what we're seeing in the final trailer? Let me know what you all think on this.
I imagine that a lot of people here are quite okay.
Yeah, I think they're pretty optimistic from what I'm seeing in the chat wall. Damn, imagine going from a blue gremlin Sonic to perhaps one of the best video game movies. The lack of focus on Tails is a little disappointing, but the visuals are pretty sick. The cinematography is surprisingly fantastic, and I don't know how it happened, but they somehow made Jim Carrey look threatening. Plus, between this, the Cuphead show, and hopefully the Mario movie, this looks like it'll be the year that'll satisfy a ton of video game fans. Except Uncharted fans for that poor thing.
Have you watched the Cuphead show?
Oh yeah, I'm watching it right now. It's great.
I think the animation's pretty cool. I'm a very nitpicky person. I find I was watching it and I was like, haha, I think that's funny, but I'm like, I wish they did that better. I don't know. I expect too much.
I mean, it's more of a straightforward thing that's trying to be like a tribute to classic cartoons. And so far, in terms of that tone, like, they're nailing it well. It's like a classic cartoon. Let's see what else. I can certainly say that I'm excited for Sonic 2. I found the first movie to be really good and the sequel looks promising. Only 2 things to say. 1, cannot wait for the return of Robotnik/henchman bromance. And 2, the fight with Sonic and Knuckles. How are you going to bet that the people are going to yell, "Is that a JoJo reference?" Well, I mean,
is that a mother effing Joe joke?
Yeah, I mean, like, with all the like pop culture references, like, it wouldn't be surprising if Sonic would suddenly reference JoJo.
If Sonic does a JoJo pose, I will give it a 10 out of 10. I will sing its praises. I will put it on every list as number 1, no matter what the context of the list is.
I'm still waiting for the day that Jim Carrey says snooping as usual. I'm still waiting for that moment.
Yo, what if we got Snoop Dogg to be like Jim Carrey's henchman?
Well, I mean, he already has a henchman, unfortunately. So, like,
yeah, but like, what if he got like a new henchman and there was like a arc involving the old henchman getting jealous and like wanting to like take out this new henchman because he's like, I want this, and then that new henchman is Snoop Dogg, and like, he's not any better. He doesn't do any job, but like, for some reason, Robotnik just likes him more because it's Snoop Dogg. He's like, man, you get it yourself. But he's like, I can't argue with your logic. And then the other guy's just like, I don't know. I think that Snoop Dogg would make the new Sonic movie at least 90% cooler.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. This trailer was awesome. As someone who really enjoyed the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie and considers one of the best video game movies, this looks impressive. The action and visuals look awesome, and I love the tribute to the games. And I love Idris Elba as Knuckles. Also, after watching this trailer, it makes me curious for what they have planned for the upcoming third Sonic movie and the upcoming Knuckles spin-off series on Paramount Plus. Oh yeah, honestly, well, I guess like for Knuckles, we'll wait and see with what the outcome will be for Sonic 2, but for Sonic 3, I don't know. Well, let's take it one step at a time, folks. Let's take it one step at a time.
And you're gonna have to convince me very hard to get Paramount Plus. You know,
Yeah.
I got Hulu, I got Funimation, I got Amazon Prime, I got Netflix. All right, anything beyond that, it's hard for me to justify. Disney Plus, I'll like subscribe to it for like a month, watch all the movies I want to watch, unsubscribe. I like Recess as much as the next guy. Not gonna watch it every day. I watch King of the Hill and American Dad every day. Unfortunately, those are comfort shows. I don't think that they're necessarily the best, but King of the Hill is god tier. I don't really know of anything on Paramount Plus. I mean, other than like SpongeBob, but like I've checked out of that series for a long time. I'll stick to the punk cover of Gary Come Home if I want to enjoy that.
Yes. Let's see. While still not a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog in general, since I didn't grow up with the video games, but at least I did find the 2020 film okay enough back before COVID came into effect. I don't expect anything great from the sequel outside of the action scenes and Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, but I hope it will be fine just like last time. Alright, I'll read one more comment. I love the first movie, and I am looking forward to the Sonic the Hedgehog sequel. Sonic 2020 is the best video game adaptation so far, which may surpass by Illumination Super Chris Pratt Bros, and better than Mortal Kombat 2021 and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. 2022 is going to be a great year for Sonic because we have an animated series, Sonic Prime on Netflix, classic game compilation, Sonic Origins, and an open world game, Sonic Frontiers, coming this year. So yeah, this year is definitely a fine year to be a Sonic fan. That's for sure.
I think the best year was 2006, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point it is.
Wow!
Jesus balls. That was loud as heck, dude.
Oh, dude, sorry.
Anyways, I think now
Sorry
it is
for
time.
popping your ears.
It is now time that we shall now get into the grand finale. Yes, originally I was thinking about, like, we're getting into 5 stories, but considering the amount of time that we do have, we already spent a whole lot so far, already nearing 2 hours. I might as well go jump into the big one right now. And this big one, oh boy, we got a massive update. I've already talked about a significant amount on it last week when the controversy started, but following afterwards, there has been a lot that happened. And when I say a lot, I mean like on a daily basis. So with that said, let's go and get right into the update on what's happening with Disney and the Don't Say Gay bill. Now, the unfortunate news is that sadly...
That is such a cringe thing to call your bill. It's like saying, hey, gay people, stop. Go. No one wants you here. And it's like, wow, what a based opinion. I bet you have a lot of friends.
Yeah, and for just to have a little bit of a refresher, for those of you who don't know, Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, it basically gives the right to parents to go and sue any instructors or teachers that would educate children in regards to sexual orientation. So if they were caught teaching about anything related to LGBTQ plus themes or trans themes and stuff like that, then they would end up getting sued. It's basically a bill that unfortunately attacks children, specifically the LGBTQ plus youth and trans youth, so that they remain silent in terms of their true identities. And for a while,
hey guys, if we pretend gay people aren't real, maybe our kids will be straight.
Exactly. It's kind of that mindset, unfortunately. So a lot of people were hoping that maybe Disney would go and make a response to denounce the bill or take action to weaken the bill somewhat. Considering that Disney is very prominent in terms of their quote unquote love for the LGBTQ plus community, and
not to mention their love of donating to politicians for, changing the law to benefit them. Or are we gonna and I don't mean to go on a communist, evil, liberal rampage here. Disney has spent tons of money extending their copyright rights and expanding them for the last 20 years. So Disney getting involved with the government and putting money into the government to benefit them and things that they believe in is not something out of the ordinary for Disney. And we have to keep that in mind. This isn't them going well, we don't want to make a political statement, when they make political statements and use their money for political reasons all the time.
Exactly. So unfortunately, the bill did go into law. And when it did go into law, that's when the CEO, Bob Chapek, decided to go and be a little bit more vocal for some reason, especially during the annual shareholders meeting, where he mentioned that he had been talking with Governor Ron DeSantis regarding the bill to see if there's any compromise with it. And he would go and have Disney donate $5 million to nonprofit organizations that could go and actually help out in terms of LGBTQ rights and stuff like that. Basically donating to the Human Rights Campaign for $5 million. However, even that backfired and caused more outrage, where from there, not only did the offices of DeSantis say that apparently Disney only called on the day of that Bob Chapek made that announcement, but also the Human Rights Campaign basically rejected the $5 million donation and even called Disney out for them to go and do better. And from there, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse, where even a lot of LGBTQ plus employees working at Disney have been calling out and denouncing Disney for the lack of action that they have been doing regarding this bill. We got Dana Terrace, the creator of the Owl House, who have been very openly vocal against it. Several writers, several other employees, Pixar employees even called Disney out, even mentioning that whenever they would have a moment or a scene or an idea regarding something that would be obviously quote unquote gay, then Disney would come in and shut it down entirely, basically censor Pixar from ever showing anything that is obviously gay. It can only be extremely subtle to the point that audiences may interpret it as gay, may not, and stuff like that. So,
and probably the main reason for that is that Disney is a global company, and in many countries, homosexuality is still kind of seen as a crime. I know in Russia, being gay isn't illegal, but talking about gays or any gay themes is an NC-17 type thing. In Russia, I know that The Sims has an M rating because 2 Sims can date each other of the same sex, and that's the only reason why it's rated M for 17-year-olds, like The Sims. So, you got all these countries that are just will not participate in anything that's hinting in that. And that's why whenever you do see gay stuff, remember Onward? And they had that one officer who had that one line that was conveniently cut for the Chinese release.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that. And it's kind of do we really want to reward this company for continuously giving lip service to this community while doing nothing to help them, while also trying to piggyback off of their financial well-being by constantly being, we're the gay company, the one that likes gay people because we happen to have that demographic, but we're still gonna treat you horribly like the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, and not to mention China especially, considering how much of a massive global market they have become, and like they have like kind of criminalized anything that is gay. So from there, like that's why we would see companies such as Pixar or Disney or whatever try to censor as much like gay themes as possible. So from there, the situation just got worse and worse and worse, and Disney is just getting Disney was going through such a PR nightmare. It wasn't until Friday that Bob Chapek officially sent out a message where he, for the first time, he actually did take some legitimate action and listen to criticism and actually do what he was supposed to do for a long time, where he actually sent out an email, reading from my source here on Variety, as it states here: "To my fellow colleagues, but especially our LGBTQ plus community, thank you all who have reached out to me sharing your pain, frustration, and sadness over the company's response to the Florida Don't Say Gay bill."
You mean lack of a response? You sir, you're acting like you said a fucking thing. Stop it. No, you're not apologizing for the right thing. You've already messed up. You already messed up. You didn't say anything. You can't apologize for something you said when your inaction is the problem here.
Yeah.
So he's already fumbled once, but let's continue.
"Speaking to you, reading your messages, and meeting with you have helped me better understand how painful our silence was. It is clear that this is not just an issue about a bill in Florida, but instead yet another challenge to basic human rights. You needed me to be a stronger ally in the fight for equal rights, and I let you down. I am sorry. Our employees see the power of this great company as an opportunity to do good. I agree. Yes, we need to use our influence to promote that good by telling inclusive stories, but also by standing up for the rights of all. Starting immediately, we are increasing our support for advocacy groups to combat similar legislations in other states. We are hard at work creating a new framework for our political giving that will ensure our advocacy better reflects our values. And today, we are pausing all political donations in the state of Florida pending this review. But I know there is so much more work to be done. I am committed to this work and to you all, and will continue to engage with the LGBTQ plus community so that I can become a better ally. You will hear more about our progress in the coming weeks. I truly believe we are an infinitely better and stronger company because of our LGBTQ plus community. I missed the mark in this case, but I am an ally you can count on, and I will be
You sure about that?
And
like, how do you fuck up that badly and just go like, guys, I'm super trustworthy. I know that, like, I basically listened to a senator brag about how they don't like gay people and didn't do anything about it. And then I tried to make the situation go away by just throwing money that I personally didn't earn, but, you know, was generated by the hardworking backs of, you know, the people at my company. And, you know, I've tried to, like, you know, shut up about it, but you guys really wouldn't let me get away with this one. So I guess I'm a little sorry. Okay, we'll do the thing that we should have did from the beginning, because you are now mad and that might affect sales and will also maybe get me fired. Like, that's what this, like, really reads as. It's so, like, cynical. You know, it just, like, they're the words that I want to hear, but they're set, like, it's like your previous actions shows that you have, like, some contempt, some apathy, and that it's only by pestering you into doing the right thing that you do it. And now you're acting like you deserve a pat on the back for it.
Yeah, and just to finish off what he said, I missed the mark in this case, but as an ally you can count on. I will be an outspoken champion for the protection, visibility, and opportunity you deserve, from Bob. But oh my god, you really did hit the nail on the head right over there. And what is so frustrating about this whole situation is, like, okay, sure, you finally did the thing where you're stopped giving money to these politicians who are funding these very bigoted bills, but why did it have to take this, like, why did it have to be like up to this moment? Like, why did it have to take all this energy and all these days and even weeks, like, just to force you to go and do the right thing? And that feels like the big problem here. That is the long-term effect that this is going to cause and why this is looking bad. And I mean, we've already seen how the stocks have actually plummeted for Disney because of the fact, because of how Bob Chapek was responding in all this, and because of the significant backlash that this is entirely causing. So from there, it's like we're in a situation where it's like, okay, sure, you did, you finally did it, but at what cost? It's like, so you did it, but is it really
like we had to hold a gun to your head and take your wallet in order for you to fucking say something?
Exactly. Like did we have to go through all this? Did we really have to go through everything just to make you go and do that? And that's the part that is honestly so frustrating about the situation. And I mean, like, debatably, yeah, Disney now is currently doing a bit more than most of the other companies that have funded, such as Comcast / NBC Universal, AT&T, and like even some of the other businesses in Florida, including like the ones who operate the theme parks of like SeaWorld and Legoland and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like you can boycott Disney by going to Universal instead for LGBTQ rights, because no, that ain't working, because Universal is even worse for being silent about it. But still, though, the fact that it had to take this much to get a response to get Disney to do the right thing in this case, like, it just doesn't feel right. And like in the long term, it just makes us wonder, do we have to keep on doing this to remind Disney about doing what they are supposed to do? Like, whenever go on.
If you want to go, like, like going into like the politics of it too, it's kind of like disgusting that like the only way that we can even get these politicians to listen to us is by pestering the world's largest cartoon company.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like saying something to them.
Well, I
like,
mean,
I think it's kind of messed up that like the entire world saying gay people are okay, and like these politicians don't listen, but we get Disney to be like, hey, gay people are okay, and now they might listen.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of messed up that corporation just has that kind of power. That they just like, yeah, we talk to governors and local judges and legislators, and we just figured we'd stay quiet on this one. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the capitalist system for you. That's what capitalism is all about, is where corporations.
But like, if that is the system we have, then I think the only moral thing to do is to kick the shit out of these corporations until they start listening.
I mean, that's all we can do. Like, if we want some like major changes,
but that's cancel culture, dude. You can't do that. That's cancel culture. You see, your freedom of speech doesn't matter when that freedom of speech is being used to cancel someone you don't like.
Yeah, but
that's how it works.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's going to be the argument they are going to use in order to keep that bigoted bill. But yeah, like the thing is, it's like, at this point, like with what Disney has done now, do you think Disney is going to be forgiven for what they have done, or do you think like there's still going to be like there's still going to be a long fight that people will have to do with Disney?
Bruh, like Disney, it's Disney. There are people who base their entire lives around this company. Disney is always going to make money, and they are certainly going to be forgiven for what they've done. I've seen Shane Dawson get forgiven for what he's did. I think there's someone on Twitter right now who like talks mad crap about me like every day because I was like, Shane Dawson is still kind of a bad person. And it's just like it doesn't really matter like what, when people have dedicated that much stuff into it, it's just sunk cost fallacy at that point. But I am hoping that Disney learns that its audience isn't going to tolerate this like passive lip service anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay if they want to make stories about straight people, like just don't jerk me around. Just say that's what we do because that's what we know how to do, and we're not going to be progressive in that area. Do I want them to do that? No, But hell, if they're going to do that, at least be honest about it. I hate it when it's just like, look, we have a gay character in our new movie that we removed for the other releases. So there's no possible way that this gay character can have much agency or care put into them or development, because, you know, you got to be able to have them easily removable for the other markets. So we got to treat them kind of like, oh man, here's our gay person. I hope all the gays out there like this one, huh? Nah, it's like, it's the same shit that they did in the 90s, where it's just like, let's just throw something on the screen that we can call gay so that people will call us progressive and good without actually putting in the effort of making a character that people like. You know, I mean, I remember back when in the old days when the Marvel movies are coming out, people were mad that Nick Fury was played by a black person instead of a white person. And I thought that was cool because the change that they made there was actually made it a better film and added more character to someone that initially didn't have a lot of character. And I think adaptations and stuff like that is good when they serve a narrative purpose and all that. But you can't have a gay person serve a narrative purpose when their narrative is to be cut out for the other versions of the film. You know, you can't give them a big B plot. You can't make them a part of the main cast, because if you do, you're going to have to start cutting out more and more stuff, which means the movie needs to be longer so that when you cut that stuff out, it still is the feature length, which means that you can't really have representation of anything.
Exactly.
And, you know, I mean, back in the 80s, it was like, you know, we had this problem for black people in films, and we still do have that problem today, but it was even more pronounced, you know, back then, where it's like every sitcom has the white kid who has the black best friend. That became way too much of a thing that was done. And it's just a way for a big company or someone who wants to be diverse without necessarily putting in the effort of like making something like a Static Shock or you know, something that is something that the community could get behind. Disney doesn't want to do that, and I've always hated Disney for this. I've always had this issue with Disney, and they're finally just now getting called out on it because they did something horrible that spits in the face of human rights.
Oh yeah.
And you know, when Mickey Mouse is associated with human rights violations, that's when they gotta fix the brand. That's when they gotta go in and do stuff. And I'm glad that they are, and I'm glad that this positive change is happening, but it's just so fudging cynical. It's so cynical.
Yeah,
and that's
like,
what.
Yeah, go on.
That's the worst part about it. It's that like these people aren't saying this is what we should do because that's the right thing. Instead, it's like our shareholders are finally telling us that we need to do something or we'll all lose our job.
Oh yeah.
And why does it take that much? Why can't you just be okay people?
Exactly. That's kind of like the true, like I mentioned this last week, but that's the true hypocrisy that Disney has, where they have made millions of dollars off of the LGBTQ plus community and like presenting themselves as a very inclusive brand, not just with the movies where they would have like gay characters pop up here and there, but also like at the Disney parks where they would have gay days, where they would have the community be welcomed and have like a whole day to themselves at the Disney parks. Like, and not to mention all the different merchandising of like LGBTQ plus themes. Like they really did capitalize on that hard. But when it is time that like now the LGBTQ plus community needs Disney like kind of to return the favor, they really did nothing. And the only way for them to go and take action is to make serious public outcry to really make a desperate fuss out of it. And I mean, at this point, like, yeah, like it is a small victory that like we have made Disney do something. I don't know how long Disney is going to hold on to that pause towards the Floridian politicians and stuff like that. But still, it is.
And we don't. And me being a cynical conspiracy theorist, they probably told these politicians that they're going to pause it just to look good and that they'll resume soon. And you know, these politicians are probably looking at Disney stock and being like, Yeah, that's fine. I can do without donations for a little bit. It's not like I'm poor.
Yeah, that could be the case. And I mean, like, maybe it is a small victory that they're doing this for now, but then like we still have to call out the other companies as well. Like Universal especially needs to be called out, and plenty of other, like AT&T and several others as well. Like, it's still kind of a long way to go. But still, though, it's so frustrating that like it took this amount of pressure for Disney to go and take action. And it's like, you know, it's not even a satisfying victory. It's kind of like freaking, you know, it's kind of like
it's like
frustrating
it's
one.
Like a reluctant, you know. It's like, oh, fine, we'll fucking play some lip service, I guess.
It's like people are saying final freaking Lee. You know, it's like it's like everybody put in so much pressure onto them, more so than they should. Because that's the thing, like even back then, like even like during the days of Bob Iger, like at least he was able to like, you know, he was able to make it look good. He was able to go and stand up to like whenever like these kinds of bills that would happen, and he wouldn't hesitate to like call them out and even threaten to like pull out any of their funding. At least he knows how to make, you know, he knows how to handle those situations well, or at least like even if it could seem fake, like he does know how to like handle that presentation.
This is why I subscribe to Netflix all the time, and I don't subscribe to Disney Plus unless if I have to.
Then again, so like just to do some research, are you sure Netflix is innocent in that kind of part?
No, but like, you know, Netflix is mostly like isn't like a huge corporation. Like they have their own original shows, but like those original shows are usually them hiring other studios and just giving them the funding to put something on their storefront. While Disney is like, we have a clothing brand, we are a park, we're a city, where we make movies. Like Disney is literally Americana. It's a part of America. It's our cultural export. It's how the world is able to perceive our culture, our way of doing art, you know, our ingenuity. And when that doesn't reflect the values of what Americans should be, it feels a lot more insulting. You know, and Universal also has that tied to them. Netflix, but is like a streaming service that throws money at people to do art, and then will just like throw it onto their storefront, regardless if it's good, bad, or horrible for their reputation. Like with Cuties. Someone watched that. Someone approved that.
I mean,
someone got that art and was like, yes, this is acceptable to be on the front of our store.
Yeah, but then again, I would argue with how big Netflix has become. Like, they're not big as Disney, but I think they have become in the category of like a major corporation by this point with how huge that they have become. So, like, it would probably require a bit more research to know like what kind of political fundings that they have played in the capitalist system. But still, though, it's just like I wouldn't necessarily rule out Netflix on like this whole situation. Like they can be there are cases when they can be as guilty as Disney.
Right.
So, but yeah, like overall with this whole situation, it's like, yeah, it took a lot of time, and it took definitely a lot of effort to make it to this point, to have Disney do like the right thing to actually protect LGBTQ rights and LGBTQ plus rights, and to stand up to these politicians and stop giving them their money. But it's just, it feels like we shouldn't be doing this. Like Disney should, like Bob Chapek especially, should know better than to like, you know, to let this.
But we don't have really any control, and that's the thing that like I guess like makes it so frustrating, that none of us really do have any control.
Mm-hmm.
None of us can be like, hey, can we like fire this dude and maybe get someone who like isn't horrible? We can't do that. And I mean, like, unless if we really pressure them and really make them do it. But like at that point, it just is like you're working so hard just so that some online Republican can be like cancel culture. instead of it being like, hey, can you guys just like stop trying to take away my human rights? I think that, like, you know, I shouldn't care what you're doing and you shouldn't care what I'm doing, and we shouldn't be even having this conversation. Yet these people are trying to actively impose limitations and, you know, stick themselves into the center of this like debate that really shouldn't be had. There is no merit to taking away the rights of gay people and pretending and taking away their ability to exist in public. You know, the Stonewall riots were like almost like, what is it? Like 60 years ago now, something like that. Like I think
Something
it's
like that.
1960s.
Yeah.
So why are we still having this conversation? We've already settled this. Gay people should be allowed to exist. They do exist. And yes, that is a tattoo of May, and it is nice. But you know, like it should just why can't these people just let these individuals exist? And why can't we educate society about who these individuals are? Just like we do with everything else. I don't get why it's such a hot button issue. And when people like can't even like commit to some of the most basic facts of life, like gays should be allowed to be seen in public, and we can't even like get like the world's like corporations to just like agree on that issue. It's like, why though? Why do you have to present yourself like an evil cartoon villain? You know, I'm like immediately reminded of that like one Tom and Jerry cartoon where the guy's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, for money.
Yes.
You know, it's like it literally feels like they're doing that. And I don't get why they have to do that when they're so successful, when they make so much money. And it makes me think that maybe some of these people at the top have their own prejudice. And they just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, no, like they know it, but they just don't want to like.
Because like, say if Bob Iger went out and was like, I don't think gays should be allowed to be in public, I'm telling you, there'd be riots. There'd be riots in the street.
Oh yeah, there would.
But of course, so obviously he's not going to say that. But at the same time, his actions say something that's a lot different from his words. And I really, it makes me want to, you know, I'm very anti authority in a lot of areas. I don't like it when people are telling me what to do. I don't like it when people want to investigate my life, or when the government wants to sanction like a part of a personality, right? I think that's gross, and it makes me want to be like, man, we need some more damn rebels around here, you know? Like when we can't even agree on who can and can't hold hands, you know, maybe we should be setting some buildings on fire. Maybe I mean, I'm not advocating that we do that, but I'm just saying, if that's the reality we live in, maybe there should be some damn rebels around.
Of course. But anyways, I'd like to go into the chat wall now, and I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about the whole situation where Disney is finally doing the right thing on the whole situation? Are you guys relieved that Disney is taking action on this? Are you guys still frustrated on the matter? Let me know what you all think on it. Even with Bob Chapek's apology, it feels like Disney is just putting a small band-aid in a huge bleeding wound. It just doesn't feel enough that they finally stopped their political donations to Florida, or paused for that matter. They need to make actual stands against the bill, but considering the recent history of LGBTQ+ rights characters, it isn't very likely. It is especially insulting when Disney has had LGBTQ+ people who have brought a lot of success to the company, like Byron Howard, Dana Terrace, and Howard Ashman. Yeah, exactly. Like, Disney would not be how they are today in terms of their creativity if it weren't for a lot of gay people and a lot of the LGBTQ+ people. So, like,
who buys Disney products more than anyone else?
Well, I mean, that would require a bit more research. I won't immediately.
I've dated men, and let me tell you, every person I've dated owned a shitload of Disney stuff.
Wait, you dated
Not-
guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've had 3 boyfriends and 1 girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
No, but that was like when I was a teen and I was trying to figure out who I am. I'm ace, but at the time I didn't know it.
Okay.
So for me, I just didn't have a drive or an interest. So without that component being there, it was just like I'll date anyone who seemed emotionally like available and like was willing to be there for me. And in reality, what I was looking for was a friendship. But I've gotten into more serious committed relationships of both genders. And I can confidently say that, you know, I understand at least a little bit about that community. And I understand a little bit about what it's like to be discriminated against in that regard. And I think that it's horrible. And I feel like it's just so dumb that like we're still having this debate in 2020. I remember being in 2010 reading stories about people in my area literally getting the shit kicked out of them and like left tied up outside the freeze to death. Like that was like 10 years ago. And now we're having politicians just being like, yeah, let's just fucking make them invisible. Let's just pretend that gays aren't real and maybe they'll go away. Or maybe we can use the legal system to make start throwing them in jail or something. And it's like, God, that sounds like a shitty plot to an 80s cartoon. Like, we're going to strip the rights away of people so it can send them to the work mines. And then the heroes are just like, that's bad. Because of course it's bad. But, you know, replace cartoon villains with corporations and politicians. And I don't want to necessarily throw this shade entirely at the Republicans, although the Republican Party is definitely, you know,
yeah, it's not
bad
all.
with
Yeah,
it.
it's not all Republicans.
Obama
but...
famously was anti-gay marriage too.
Really?
And yeah, in his early career, he said that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that if he was going to legalize gay marriage, he'd want to call it something else. And that changed during his 2008 presidency, and ultimately he changed his stance on that. But in his earlier career, he was anti-gay too. There's anti-gay people on both sides. And it's just like, it needs to fucking stop. We've grown past this as like a society. Most people don't have problems with gays. It's just like these out of touch weirdos that somehow are still in politics. And I mean, like, I don't even think Donald Trump would be okay with that. I maybe I'm bold saying that, but I think I even think that he'd be a little apprehensive about doing that. And this is a person I have very little respect for.
If his base loves it and if it makes it love him, then he would do it.
He'd probably just stay. I kind of see him as the type of person just to be like, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to get yelled at, but I have horrible opinions. So do with that as you will.
Yeah.
But
I can't really imagine Donald Trump standing up to gay rights. I mean, I don't know.
I don't see him standing up.
Yeah.
But I do see him taking the Disney approach.
Yeah. Well, that would be at best.
Yeah, at best. Otherwise, he'd probably say something dumb and horrible.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll be honest. The most I think about it, the most I really am convinced that Bob Chapek is the worst Disney CEO. You could definitely tell with his decision, it really felt like Disney only supported the LGBTQ plus community for profit, and this is going to cause some long-term damage for Disney. I think I owe Michael Eisner an apology for his time as Disney CEO, or at least he deserves the not as much as an a-hole as you could have been award, and if you got that reference, you get a cookie. All right, let's see now. Don't say gay is like saying don't say black, don't say redhead, don't say masculine feminine, don't say feminine male, don't say Japanese, and don't say Asian and all that kind of stuff. And another thing that makes me add it, like nothing else is other people thinking it's because a girl is masculine and a guy is feminine that she must be lesbian and that he must be gay. I really wish that could stop. Gender and sexuality are two different things. That is a good point.
Like it's very much a spectrum, you know? And like one of the things that like a lot of people will struggle with is like, you know, sometimes it's hard to know if you're like gender dysphoric or trans, or maybe you're just a dude that likes makeup and dresses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a big difference between that. And when people like mix them, it can create serious issues for people who are trying to discover themselves and figure out what's going on. It's someone who thinks that, like, you know, just because I like dresses means I should be like that. I've seen like horrible situations where people are like, oh, you like dresses, you look so good as a girl, you should be a girl. And it's like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. Like there are, and like some people like don't even like there are people who don't even know this, but like there are even some straight people who do drag racing. Like there are some people who do compete in, like there are some straight people like married to a woman, like a woman married to a man, or a man married to a woman. They go in drag competitions, and
yep,
you know, that doesn't change who they are.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think that a lot of like sexuality and stuff like that is mostly just like societal, like what we think these people need to be interested in, and you know, herd mentality. Because like we already know tribalism is a thing, right?
Yes.
Like tribalism is a thing. So the pink aisle, really, if you think about it, it's probably just tribalism. The reason why the female razor is more expensive than the male razor is because women will pay more and want to pay more because of tribalism.
Yeah.
Because society says that this is a wealth symbol, and that in order for you to look good, you need to spend more money on it, even if you're buying the same shit. And like it's very dumb. I'm someone who never subscribed to any of that. I just like what you like, and if anyone gives you shit for it, I mean, I was into My Little Pony as a 13-year-old. Of course, I'm like what you like. Don't care what anyone else says, but.
And
I mean, like,
and I'm a Disney guy, so like, same thing. Like what you like, man.
I mean, like, you see my background. I got all these Agretzko stuff.
Mm-hmm. We see it.
I got a lot of Agretzko stuff. And that stuff, it makes me happy. And I think that anyone has the right to pursue happiness, or what was it? What's the actual legal term? The pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and all that stuff. I think that
life,
anyone
liberty,
should
and
be
the
allowed
pursuit
to
of happiness.
And you should be able to pursue that without the government trying to get involved in that. You know, we should be allowed to just, I don't know. I think it's really stupid that we're just having this conversation, because there shouldn't be a conversation. It just should be like an accepted thing. We've been through the Stonewall riots. We've seen gay people in real life. We've seen famous, incredibly famous, incredibly successful trans people do very well for themselves. Like I think Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
You know, she does very amazing. One of the most like wealthy people on the planet, trans.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why are we having this discussion? These people exist. They're culturally relevant, and they're literally impossible to avoid. So why are we going to pretend that we can?
Exactly. Let's see what other comments we got. One thing's for sure is that Bob Chapek and the people at Disney will never be forgiven for the way they respond to the Don't Say Gay bill. They should have responded to the problem quickly, but instead they made things worse as possible. Other companies like Universal should be called out too, as they are guilty as Disney in co-sponsoring the hateful bill. Even if they now decide to take action, it's too late for that. Disney, you may be a big company, but your LGBTQ+ community will never forgive you.
It's gonna take a lot of effort. It's gonna be like 5 years without any mess ups, with incredibly progressive stuff.
Yeah.
For me to like be like, guys, I forgive you now. Or if they fire that like CEO and like put a new one in, I'd be like, but also I'm punk. I think I've told every boss I've had to go fuck themselves when I've quit.
Probably, yeah.
Thank you, YouTube. by the way. Don't need to rely on like those references. It's like, you treated me like human garbage. You, sir, can go fuck yourself. By the way, I'm not coming into my shift today. You got to find someone else to replace me, or you're losing on $10,000 of profit. I'm not opening up the store. I'll send you over to Keys like in a week.
Yo.
Yo, do not go. If I'm working for you, do not come into my room and tell me that I'm a horrible person and that I'm a bad employee, because I will become one.
Oh, dang. Well, hey, good thing with our collaborations that you didn't treat me that way.
You're not my boss. We're like co-partners. When people like get too full of themselves, I think people honestly, if we look at the last like 5 years, the biggest thing that we've been the internet's been interested in is accountability.
Yes.
Drama. If you look at the drama channels, Keemstar is still like very big, but you look at like other like drama communities, and most of what people want is for these horrible individuals that the government just seems to ignore to be held accountable, whether it be like by mob justice or someone just being like, hey, this guy's lying, don't believe him. You're not crazy, he's lying and he's bad. And it's like the same situation here. People want this guy who openly turned a blind eye to basic human rights. And instead of getting that, we're getting like PR speech. And it just pisses us off more. Like, oh, you're going to try to be better. Man, you had your chance to be better and you fucked up. Now, how are we going to get this? Now, what's your commitment so this doesn't happen again in the future? Where's the reassurance? And reassurance should come in the form of whoever messed up should be punished in some way, whether it be by like suspension, replacement, or just like something to be like, I'm taking accountability. I'm going to look into this. We as a company are going to be more transparent and communicative and try to be better. But they don't do that. They're like, please stop harassing us. Our stock has fallen. We feel bad now because we got caught. And it's like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck the person who wrote that. And fuck Disney.
Yeah. And I think
sorry if that sounds like cancel culture, but like,
nah, I mean, it has
some
to
people
be
just
said,
need
man.
to be canceled.
It has to be said, man. It has to be said. And I think with that should conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Creepy, thank you so much for joining me on this. Oh boy, this was quite a huge episode.
sorry for talking your ear off about I have ADHD. I go off topic. I spiderweb a lot, which is why I work with a script more than I don't.
Yeah, no, I understand. So I'm just wondering if there is I'm sure you got your social media stuff going around. If people want to find you online, where can they go find you?
I'm on YouTube, and primarily I'm on YouTube and Twitter. I don't like Facebook because, Mark Zuckerberg harvests people's data and I don't want to help him with that.
Yeah.
Although I do have a Facebook page, mostly so that there's some people that are like, I don't have Twitter, but I'm on Facebook and I want to send you a message. And I try to be as open on as many different platforms as I can, because I really don't want to be out of reach if someone has a genuine issue with me, my content, or whatever. I don't want to be super unreachable. But at the same time, if you don't have anything important to talk to me about, I might just ignore you. Point is, if you just look up That Creepy Reading on either, or at Creepy Reading on Twitter, or That Creepy Reading on YouTube, I'm sure you can find me. I definitely own those tags at this point, basically.
All right. So with that said, thank you so much for joining me on this. And thank you all for joining me for 200 episodes. Hey, let's hope that we can continue this for 200 more. So with all that said, I would like to say thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.
See you later, gamer.